What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Welcome back, Jim, Brother Dave, and Super Dave.
Morning.
Good morning. Morning. Welcome back, everybody.
And a big welcome to Lauren Najera.
Good morning.
Morning, Lauren.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, Lauren.
If you don't know who Lauren is, this is Paco's wife. She has blessed us with her presence today, so it should be a good podcast.
What truck does Paco drive? What number?
28.
28, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't keep track of it since he switched out of the Freightliner.
Yeah, that sounds weird. Yeah.
Right?
That is weird.
It's not only Paco, it's everybody that switched here.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like James isn't in 001 anymore.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you guys, that was a little bit of a loss for us. I felt it at home.
What, that he wasn't in his old truck anymore?
Yes, he's supposed to be 0071. That's it.
That's
funny.
Was he crying?
I think I was crying more. Felt like I lost a child.
That's funny.
We used to feel that way, Lauren, about the trucks long time ago. Like Dave can probably attest to that. Like you get rid of 0012 or 006, you're like, oh, what happened to that truck? You know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's so emotional. Like Big Red, you know, and you trade it in or you sell it. But now it's like, oh, that one's gone. We got to get a new one in here. You just got to step up your game and do it faster and better. And
Jim, I almost couldn't handle it when I would see the old 009 out on the road, and I'm not driving it. It's not a JFW truck anymore. I'm like, what?
right.
It's not right.
Speaking of 009, anytime I think of David Garcia, I think he's in 009.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single
agreed.
time. So, all right, let's kick off the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As a reminder, anything you hear in this podcast is not JFW or Paco's opinion. It's just the four men and Lauren's opinion.
Perfect.
So, episode 51 did really well. We had 445 downloads.
Nice. Thank you, Clint.
Yep. And we're at 17,956 total downloads with 141 followers.
Wow. I know it's over a year, but after 52 weeks,
Yep.
that's cool.
Well, this is episode 52.
Right.
So,
Happy anniversary.
We did have a cool comment. Said, another great meeting of the minds. Kathy from Forest Hill, Louisiana. If you don't know who Kathy is, that's Kathy Smith, and that is
Freddie's mom?
Freddie's mom.
Nice.
Yep. Freddie used to be pretty popular on this podcast. We used to talk about Freddie all the time, but he was a lot more interactive. We don't hear from him no more, so we don't talk about him anymore.
What?
Yeah.
What happened to you, Freddie? If
We
you're
miss you,
listening, buddy.
Freddie.
Yeah.
Calling you out, Fred. Let's get your life together. All right, it's time for the dad joke challenge. Lauren, did you bring a dad joke or a
I
mama
did.
joke? We're going to start off with you.
My dad has schizophrenia.
Uh-oh.
He's good people's.
That's great. Good delivery, too.
That's
Good
awesome.
people. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
We also have Elijah in the studio. Elijah, right?
This is family right here.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Good stuff. So I'm kind of sticking with the season there, talking about Halloween and stuff, and looks like we might get a little snow tonight and tomorrow, you know, rain, snow mix. So what happens to a snowman when he throws a tantrum?
I thought this was a snowballs
He
joke.
balls.
Man, you guys, it's a total meltdown.
Pretty good, Jim.
That's a pretty good one.
I like it. Good job.
Well, I'm going to follow up here with a twist on the dad joke because this is an older dad joke. And what I mean by that is you have older children, right? So a young man goes into a drugstore to buy condoms. The pharmacist asks how many. Well, he said, I've been seeing this girl for a while now and she's really hot. I think tonight's the night. We're having dinner with her parents and then we're going out and I've got a feeling I'm going to get lucky after that. So I guess can I get 10? Later that evening, he sits down to dinner with his girlfriend and her parents. He asks if he might give the blessing, and they agree. He begins to pray, but continues praying for several minutes. The girl leans over to him and says, "You never told me you were such a religious person." He leans back over to her and replies, "You never told me your dad was a pharmacist."
Soup, what you got?
Well, I'm using one of my sources for this one. Andy, he's a jokester. He hits me up almost every week. But a dad died due to us not being able to remember his blood type. As he was dying, he kept insisting that we be positive. But it's hard to do that without him.
That's funny. Oh, man. Well, I got another hunt joke for you guys. It's only a couple weeks away now for me, so. 2 hunters went moose hunting every winter without success. Finally came up with a foolproof plan. They got a very authentic cow moose costume and learned the mating call of a cow moose. The plan was to hide in the costume, lure in the bull, then come out of the costume and shoot the bull. They set themselves up on the edge of a clearing, donned their costume, and began to give the moose love call. Before long, their call was answered as a bull came crashing out of the forest and into the clearing. When the bull was close enough, the guy in the front said, "Okay, let's get out and get him." After a moment that seemed like an eternity, the guy in the back shouted, "The zipper's stuck. What are we going to do?" The guy in the front says, "Well, I don't know how about you, but I'm going to start nibbling grass."
Oh, picturing that one. It was not good.
That's funny. Hey, so last week we attempted to give away $200, but we only gave away $100. The reason we only gave away $100 is because the second winner must not listen to the podcast.
Oh.
So David Gayton, somebody might tell you you had a chance to win $100 last week, but you didn't come through.
That's like a full $100 cash, like green, like
Free money.
Free money.
100 in your wallet, right?
Yeah. Didn't have to do anything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But listen.
Yeah.
Right? Just had to listen. So
That's-
the third winner, right, or this week, the third winner.
We're going to add that $100.
Absolutely. And when they get a chance, they can thank David,
That's it.
right?
Do you want to announce winner number one, Jim?
Sure.
Amber usually does this,
Yep.
but she had to go to yard 23. So
Yep. So the first of 3 winners on the podcast for this week is
just the driver's license number, right?
right, just the driver's license number,
Yeah.
right?
Not
Right? Did I
the
start?
name.
Just the last 4 digits.
I was just
You were
reminding-
waiting. I was going to read the name, right? Right?
only because that's what I would do.
That's been my morning, though. So yeah, I get it.
And
so
the winner is Jack O'Lantern.
who's that? What truck does he drive? All right. So the first winner, driver's license ending in 0914. 0914 is the first winner.
All right. Moving on. New employees. We have no new employees this week, which to me is a good sign. Super Dave, where are we at on drivers? What's our plus number?
Yeah, we. I don't think we lost anybody last week, but we were holding steady at plus 10.
All right.
So, and I think that's where we were. I mean, you didn't ask me last week. I think it was the week before. But one thing I'd like to announce, and this is great news, Don Keller is coming back from his back injury.
Let's see, November
the
7th?
7th.
Nice.
Yeah, so a
Nice.
week and a half.
Yeah,
so
week
he
and a
says
half.
he's feeling good, almost pain-free. So more power to you, Don. I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah, can't wait to see you, Don.
Yep.
Was he included in that 10 number?
Yes.
Okay. Good deal.
So I think last week when you said plus 9, I think we talked about
Okay, I
Yeah,
couldn't
not-
remember if I said 9 or 10, Jim. Yeah.
9, and I think,
But
you-
I do have 2 that are like probably going to hire on. So one gentleman I actually talked to this week that I interviewed on Friday, kind of a sad note. He lost a sister over the weekend, so he's not
wow.
making any
What a
like
bummer.
any commitments right now.
Sure.
That's
But he
too bad.
loved everything we had to say, or I had to say about us here at JFW. So we'll see.
Very
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
tough to lose a family member. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're
That's a bummer.
yeah.
But being plus 10 in this economy, a workforce, or just the struggles what businesses are having keeping people, we know a lot of other transportation companies that are not plus 10. They got trucks sitting and stuff like that. So appreciate everybody drinking the Kool-Aid, right? Must be doing something right. So
Yeah, and I mean, I know we get to going and the podcasts get long here, but with that plus 10, I'd like to touch on the reason again, and we've talked about it, is that's because we have a pretty robust PTO program, and we allow so many people off a day, and the extra people are to cover those days because we almost have, what is it, Jam, seven off every day we allow, or
we allow 7 drivers off a day for the whole day, and then we allow 3 early offs / in lates. It's been working out. I mean, we haven't seen the safety directors jumping in trucks very much. I know they do it. Kendrick and Scooby mainly been doing it, but it's been a lot less. But those are the days we have 7 people out, and then 5 people call out.
Yep.
And it's
and still Mondays and Fridays are our
Mondays
toughest
and
days.
Fridays are the
Especially
tough
Mondays.
ones.
Mondays are a call out day.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Sue.
I just have to say, historically, it slows down at this time of year. We have the holidays coming.
Yeah.
They've got travel plans for Thanksgiving or Christmas. People are focused on family right now more than a job search. They're going to sit
Right.
tight for a little while. So they're really not quitting or moving around as much as they are in the spring or summer.
It's been nice on Paycom. This is the first thing that I've really enjoyed is the blackout dates. Just blacking out that date has just been making the time off management a lot easier than having to call people and tell them you can't have that date. It's like blacked out. And people that really have something going on, they still give me a call, and they're like, hey, I tried to ask for time off, but it said it's blacked out. Sure
Yeah,
did.
I mean,
Sure did. You can't take that day off.
It happened to me, Jam, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and
You're like, hey, I'm taking the day off.
I didn't say it that way. No, but it was nice to see that, hey, that's blacked out, and
Right.
I understood what was going on, and
Yeah.
like you said, just give you a call and discuss what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep.
Celebrations, anniversaries. Mike Peterson is hitting 16 years or hit 16 years on the 23rd. Was that Sunday? I'm so bad with dates.
Yes.
I butcher
Yeah.
this
Yes.
every week.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yep. Ray Davis is hitting 3 years on the 29th, so that's coming up. I
What?
think
Ray
that's
Ray,
Saturday.
3 years?
3 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
Seems like-
man, you read those, and it just blows me away. I know
Yes.
we just celebrated you, Dave, but, Mike, man, and I'll say the same thing to Ray, love you, buddy, and love Mike, but it's just 16 years. You spend that time with people, and it goes by. And even Ray at 3 years, I'm glad to have him here working and have friends. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. We did a culture meeting this morning, and we were asking the guy I was training with, and he was talking about the people that he rode with were all really friendly and helpful, and Gerardo was his trainer, and then he rode with Tony Martinez, had some nice things to say about Tony. And he's like, and the third guy, he's like, he was really great personality and really helpful as well. I can't remember his name. And we're like, do you remember the truck number? And he's like, no, but he had a lot of tattoos on his face. And we're like,
Oh, Ray Ray.
oh, that's
Ray
Ray.
It was almost in unison. too.
Yeah, we
all were
chimed in.
Oh, Ray Ray.
Right. That was so funny. It's great. Let's see. Birthdays. We got David Garcia's birthday is on the 28th. Happy birthday, David. And then family birthday celebrations. Liam Portillo turns 2 years old today, 30 days ago. And the reason... Yeah, so the other day I'm out at the Fuel ILC Sergio. I'm like, hey, your kid's having a birthday coming up, huh? Liam's turning 2. And he's like, yeah, no, yeah. And then he looks at me, he's like, did I put down the wrong date? I'm like, depends when his birthday is. So his birthday, I think, was September 26th. Yeah. And he put October.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So happy 25th month birthday.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Again, how time flies.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was born just yesterday.
Right.
You know?
Well,
Yeah, no doubt.
So I can say happy birthday, Liam, whenever it was.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Then Amelia Contreras turns 8 this Friday, and that is Amber's son. And she's a lot more responsible, so she knows his birthday. And then Adeline Ariola turns 12 this Saturday. And obviously that is Veronica and Alonso's daughter. Yeah, drew a blank there. So happy birthday, kids. Good
Nice. Happy
stuff.
birthday, everybody. I kind of want to back up just because, 2 weeks ago we celebrated Dave's 30th there and on the anniversaries. And it's just so funny. We talk about how the time flies and stuff, but every day I sit around and laugh with these people when I see them.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're standing around just having a conversation, and obviously we're working and doing stuff, but it is so nice that you have that relationship where you just laugh, and it just feels good.
Yeah.
Ray, he always comes in and has something that he has to say or something, and he's like, I just got to bug you, boss. I just got to bug you. Like, that's awesome, man. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and I not that I would have said something to you ahead of time, Jam, but I guess I can tell you one of my baby's birthdays is today. And I was just like, wow, I need to write that down. So
There you go.
Allie's birthday is today, and she's
Hey.
27.
Happy birthday, Alan.
Yep, so
That's
happy
awesome.
birthday, Allie. Make sure she's a avid listener, and I got to make sure I throw this in here. So make
Yeah.
sure she knows that.
You get $100 if you bring this up to your dad.
Allie, if I say happy birthday to you today on air, does that mean like I don't have to text you?
Right? Got it covered?
I guess I better text just in case.
It doesn't.
That's not a get out of jail free card, is it?
That's funny. Shout outs. It's a shout out and kind of a sad announcement, but anybody who knew Single Stack, he passed away, so rest in peace, Single Stack. I know a lot of people called in or texted, but Robbie Johnson was the one person wanted to make sure that we mentioned it on the podcast. So, Single Stack will be missed, and if you knew Single Stack, I'm sure you have some memories.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on that too long, but we have lost a lot of, I like calling them family members, and we believe they're family. Might not be your brother and sister, but it's the trucking family, and the people we've lost are they had a passion for trucking, loved trucks. Single Stack loved trucks and stuff, and the brothers or sisters that we've lost, and Robbie personally texted me and said I don't work there anymore, and do you mind a shout out, and hopefully he listens to the podcast or he heard about the shout outs from maybe Rick or something like that. But even I know you might not work here anymore, and or if you're about to work here or you're still working here, I just want to mention you're still family, and what makes you family on that part is the passion for driving or the skill you have to drive, and being part of that brotherhood and sisterhood of drivers.
Right.
And what we do. And we've crossed paths at some point, like working here. And, I know we have listeners that used to work here and don't anymore. I just want to say I still consider them all family.
Sure. Absolutely. Robbie Johnson, too. I haven't
No, absolutely.
haven't heard from Robbie in a long time, so shout out to you, Robbie, and hopefully he is a listener. By the way, rolling back to last week's episode, we did pick up Mexico.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure that's because Oswaldo's down there. So, what's up, Os? Canelo.
Yep.
And
Back
then
tomorrow, isn't he?
he is back, next Wednesday.
What?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, I was like, he's not really gone 2 weeks. He'll be back Wednesday. It's the next Wednesday.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Linda and Randy are missing you.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, they
Well
won't.
deserved.
They won't let me do anything, Us. So they need you back.
Yeah, I've heard you ask, Jam. So right? Need any help? Nope, we got it.
We got it. Okay, cool. And then we picked up Kuwait too. I don't know who's out there. So
Oh, probably in the service, though. I mean, maybe.
could be,
mean-
or some underground. You know how some of these countries they don't allow people to do anything, but this person just wants to hear the Channel 23 podcast.
Aren't they all underground in Kuwait?
Probably hiding in a little basement or a little tunnel somewhere. Got to get my fix. Channel 23.
A cave.
So, let's see. Jim Sr. wanted to give a shout out to Jesus Varela for the delivery he made to his house. He said he had a very nice smile on his face, did
Nice.
everything he asked him to do, and went through a lot of trouble to get in there with the pup. So good job, Chewy. And then, Jim, this is your shout out. You might as well give it.
Wait a minute. Does Jesus go by Chewy?
He does.
I did not know that.
Yeah, most of the Jesuses do. It's a nickname for Chewy. Jesus. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good to know.
I thought Chewy like went along with the pup or something. He was kind of Chewy because he's a pup.
No, that
What do
was
you-
a bad dad.
What do you think Chewy's name is over at Plant 2?
Well, I'm going to guess Jesus.
That's a
Jesus.
trick question.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man. So moving on, right? Was driving the other day going up I-25 and ran into 0050 and a couple of guys I couldn't see who was driving and stuff, but 0050 is Steve Barnes.
Yep.
And then 0058 Seabass, and then 0093 Cisco Reza. And you guys were crushing it on I-25. The couple of trucks was northbound in the traffic and stuff, and you guys were in the right lane and plenty of distance with the cars in front of them, signaling and stuff like that. And
Nice.
And it made me think to give this shout out this morning that as I passed them, I was thinking to myself, in case they recognize my pickup, I'm like, I got to have good following distance. I got to be using my turn signal. I was,
Don't run, man.
right. I was like, kind of late for the doctor's appointment. Maybe pushing that car in front of you, and I'm like, nope. Just I gotta represent. You guys are representing. So
Are you saying
sure.
you need a camera?
I could need a camera. I mean, talk about a friendship I would build with JR. He might be calling me all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, you popped up again.
Jim, did you watch the videos that I sent you?
No. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Did I, on 50 or my videos?
No, that would be JR calling you.
Gotcha.
Got a funny story about Cisco this morning. He was in the shop. I guess he had some codes pop up or something this morning. I saw on my computer he had some codes. But anyway, I was on a mission, just cruising in the door, and he was kind of walking to the door in the shop. And I come in the door and I look at him and I say, "Good morning, Alex." Thank goodness for his good nature. He just smiled and said Cisco. And I was like, I'm sorry. I see Alex every day. I haven't seen you for months. So yeah, good humor on Cisco's part. I appreciate it. But if anybody doesn't know, Cisco and Alex are brothers. So the resemblance is there.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good talk with Cisco this morning. I actually knew who he was. And we were just talking about the podcast, and he listens to a lot of podcasts, and we've talked about this on our podcast before. And he said he quit listening for a little bit. It just got kind of a little political for him, and then we didn't really have a lot going on. It sounded like, but he said he started listening again. So
Good.
he did check his driver's license number last week. And, he wanted to know what we had planned today, so I let him know about Lauren coming on, and yeah, it was just a good talk. Cisco's a good guy. I like him.
They're definitely related because they're both so quiet, fly under the radar. But they're those guys that are just silent warriors. They just do a great job.
Well, Alex Reza, he is the one that did the backup challenge, like his first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He just came in and did it.
Yep.
And I brought that up to Amber the other day. I was trying to embarrass him because she was getting ready to take his 1 year anniversary photo.
Uh-huh.
I was like, Amber, just so you know, Alex, did the backup challenge. He only been here 2 weeks. And then when I was done, he was like, I actually did it twice.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So,
He could give some tips on how we're backing into that salt bin for some people, I bet.
oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a good driver. So, another shout out. Just getting back to your shout out, Jim, when you came in the other day and you're like, hey, 0050, 58, and 93 are crushing it. I'm like, uh-oh.
like bad.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And then you're like, yeah, let's give him a shout out. I'm like, oh, let me grab my pen. That's funny. Shout out to Troy Hunt. We all saw Troy yesterday, and he has lost 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. That's right.
Congratulations.
So we got a lot of people out there losing weight and getting in shape. And, I know I've mentioned a few other people before, but Troy, you're looking good, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Then the struggle starts of keeping it off.
Now
Oh,
I
he
know why
brought
they're
that
calling
up.
him the unit now instead of cowboy.
Ah,
Oh,
there you go.
the unit?
Yeah, he's got a lot of nicknames.
Yeah, I hear these guys that lost 50 pounds. I think who did I say? Edwin Ramirez lost 67 pounds, or no, 30 pounds. Tony Martinez lost 67 pounds.
Yeah.
I've lost 10 pounds, and it's hard every day to do that. So congrats to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's get into the discussion, and you could jump in anytime, Lauren. You just interrupt us whenever you want.
Okay.
Gilly wanted to talk about sweeping out. He sent me a text message right before the podcast started, so let me pull that up real quick. We've talked about this stuff before, and he even said, "Good morning, boss. In the podcast today, can you touch on sweeping out again? I know it's a broken record, but the last few trailers I've had to hook to, I've had at least a wheelbarrow full of every material mixed in.
Ouch.
Even the Coors preload I did recently with rock, sand, and dirty. Just a courtesy to your fellow drivers, take a few minutes and just sweep out. A well-oiled machine runs better when maintained by all. Thanks, and have a great day."
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's brutal. So what he was saying was he had a preload, dumped it out, and then all kinds of material were
Yeah.
still stuck
Yeah.
in the nose.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's too bad, man.
And Gilly, is he still a slip seat? No, he's not a slip seat anymore, is he?
He's not. No.
Yeah, so,
But he's bulking and end dumping.
Yeah,
So
he
his
does-
trailer's
he
getting
gets
used.
Yeah, he's dropping and hooking
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
so keep that in mind, guys. And then the other thing I wanted to... Go ahead, Jim.
I know. Can we harp on that a little bit?
Let's do it.
I mean,
Especially now, it's coming into winter. That stuff will be frozen in there if you don't clean it out.
yeah, and what a fast way to ruin Gilly. Of having to. I'm tired of this, and like he's complaining about it, but he's getting up there and having to clean everybody's messes up, and that ruins you. You get tired of doing that, and so thank you, Gilly, for saying something. Because it's actually happening to somebody. We think we're all doing a great job, or everybody's doing a great job, and obviously we're not. So
Well, and here we are again, talking about the importance of the contamination. If there was material that came out of that load in the grain, those cows, the farmers literally call them their race cars. They treat them like race cars. I mean, they get the best feed, the best environment. I mean, those animals are producing for them, so the farmers give them everything they can. Yeah. I mean, it right?
They're eating a diet of a championship athlete.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, they are to produce the best milk there is,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, yeah, and here we are, possibly ruining that. We can't have that. It's terrible.
yeah. So sorry, Jam.
No, it's good. I was just thinking about the diet of a champion athlete. Like, they eat baked goods and coarse grain.
Well, that's what makes good sweet milk, right?
I thought that's where the strawberry milk came from.
Let's just say their engines are a little different. Let's look at it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Yeah, they
powering
have 3
4
stomachs. Oh, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, more than one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny.
and just to dive in on that, the reason they got the Starbucks food is, if not, they feed the cows molasses, which it's been a long time since we've been down that road, but like 5 years ago when we were doing it, or kind of dabbled in that, the molasses was like $125 a ton for molasses, because the cows need X amount of sweet in their food,
Sugar.
yeah, X
Right,
amount of sugar.
right.
Because it kills this certain enzyme or grows this certain enzyme or whatever the
bug.
case may be, right? So they need that between all their stomachs. Well, the Starbucks food was taking care of that, and it was a fraction of the cost. So it was making the farmers or the ranchers more profitable along the way. Now, some of the stuff we've taken up there, I don't know what the Frito corn chips are doing for them, but maybe that's just good carbs.
I think
I
it's
don't know.
just
Methane gas.
free food, cheap food.
Yeah, it's just corn back in their diet, right?
Carb loading.
Yeah, carb loading. They're athletes. They need to carb load.
That's right. Got a big day tomorrow. That's funny. Yeah, glad we dove into that a little bit more. The other thing I want to get into is reading your dispatch and running in an order. Every morning, one of the things that I do now is I make sure each truck is going where they're supposed to be going. It's a little tedious, but every day we find something that's not being done the right way. Dispatch is put in a certain order for a reason. Either there's it's time sensitive, that plan or that person needs it first, or it's the most efficient way to run it. So when you don't do your dispatch in order and I call you and be like, hey, why didn't you go here first? Oh, well, this happened. No, it doesn't work like that. The dispatch isn't optional. You don't get to see it and say, okay, well, I'm supposed to do this first, this second, this third, but I want to do it this way. You can call dispatch and ask them if your way is better. And our dispatchers are so humble. If you have a better way of doing it, they'll be like, you know what? That's a good idea. But to just run it out of order or skip your first load or do what you want, that's not helping the house, and it doesn't make you look good at all. So
Absolutely.
Please run your dispatches in order. Read them. There's very specific directions. First times 1, second times 2, third times 1, or first time all day.
Right.
Like, it's very obvious what you should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that again, like Jam says, the dispatchers are very humble. If you have something that you think is a mistake or could be done better, call. Just have a conversation, because we're all about being better. Because together we're better, right? If someone brings something up and you have that aha moment, it's better. Or there's information there we don't know.
Right.
Maybe we're sending them to a pit. I'm making it up. We're sending them up to Distal to load first thing in the morning, and Distal happens to have a giant road-based job that's going to Fort Collins. And there's 70 trucks up there every morning waiting to load. If we don't know that, we're still sending trucks up there. So that's the information. Share it. We will never know that unless someone brings that to the table.
The other thing, you hear it on the radio all the time. Somebody will, be doing something, and the dispatcher will be like, all right, go do this. And they'll be like, hey, is it okay if I go here? It's closer. Yeah. And I've never heard dispatch say, no, that's a dumb idea.
Right. Yeah, you may hear, I'd like to do that.
Yeah,
but
we can't.
Yeah, Plant 12 has a 1,200-yard night pour tonight, and we need all the sand in there we can get. Or go do it. I didn't realize you were closer. Right?
If your first dispatch in the morning is Fry Rock to Plant 12, and you bring it to the West Plant or to Plant 2 because you just feel that's going to be quicker and help you out,
not good.
That's not how the game works.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next up on the list is benefits. Jim, do you want to kick this off?
Yeah, I was just thinking about what, when we were just talking about dispatch there, I wanted to spit out, hey, it's not always about you, when you call in about the dispatch. We try to talk about it being about the house and different stuff like that. And, a lot of times, some of my closing arguments here are closing arguments, but my final thoughts.
It's like, Lawyer Jim,
right?
I was going to say D.A. James.
Now we know what he thinks about the podcast. Time to go argue.
Closing arguments is about puzzle pieces, and dispatch is a huge puzzle. And a lot of times, dispatch is looking at all these puzzle pieces, and the driver's looking at these puzzle pieces, and we have to put the puzzle together. And sometimes it's better for you, but most of the time we're looking for that puzzle that's better for everybody, right? And so when I'm thinking about benefits here and stuff, we've tried to put puzzle pieces together that benefits everyone. And I just wanted to mention, we're trying to get some listeners here by giving the $100 away and talking about different things, and we celebrate people's lives, and I think we need to talk a little bit about, like our PTO program, why it's in place to give people time off, so they can schedule things and get a break and have some time with their family, but it also doesn't affect their pocketbook, and those puzzle pieces, we're trying to, how do we create that? Here's this puzzle. How do we make it so it doesn't hurt everybody else? How do we make sure it's beneficial for Lauren and your family, and yet beneficial for Paco? And I guess I wanted to talk about that. And we just interviewed one of our new employees this morning, Patrick, and luckily we got him on. He's a space where we can have so many. He's 22 years old. But we have a 401k program in place that at 22, and hopefully he spends his lifetime with us, like you, Dave. You're 30 years, but I feel good that we can make him a millionaire. Right. In over that time, if he's in our 401k, because we have that program, and our paid holidays. A few years ago, we didn't have paid holidays. Yep. How great to be looking at Thanksgiving coming up or our holidays. And know you're covered for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's big.
Right?
Yeah, I just remember being a driver here, and okay, we got a holiday coming up. Well, great, but not so great because that's going to hurt.
Yeah, I'm missing a day's worth of work, you know, and we have our snow crew and we have our, our salt and stuff. And sometimes guys have had to work and also, on the holiday, but that's a double ding, right? You get paid for your holiday and you work. We don't take the pay away.
Right.
But there's another puzzle piece. How are we going to fit that together? Your Thursday and Friday and Saturday bumps. We tried to put those puzzle pieces together so it benefited you guys. You've worked a long week and you're here busting it Friday and you've been on time. So how do we do that? We also have the safety bonus in there. Mm-hmm. There's something else over your quarter. If you were safe, there's another bump. And I guess I want to just go over those and how important I think they are to the future of every driver or every person here.
Yeah.
I'm in the 401k.
I'm in the 401k. I just wanted to mention, I just didn't want to interrupt you and let you get your thoughts out, but I'm going to interrupt you and not let you get your thoughts out. So
perfect.
On that 401k.
Obviously, is that your closing argument?
No, when we were talking to Patrick this morning, I don't mean this in a bad, he's a puppy. He is like, we can mold him and teach him and train him, which it seems as though he's already heading down that rock star road.
Right.
I mean, he seems like a really great guy and good driver and whatnot. But to talk about that 401k, and I know everybody, like I'm a broken record, just free money, but I like to make the point when we talk to him, hey, are you getting in it? It's free money, yada, yada, yada. But in 5 years, that's $10,000 free money he got from us.
Right.
Free. $10,000. He did nothing. All he did was work here. He got it for free and participated in the 401k.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he leaves at 5 years and 1 day, he got $10,000 for free from us because he was here participating, being a great guy, and just doing his job. I mean, if he's here 10 years, that's $20,000 for free.
Plus interest.
Well, I'm just saying that we gave, right? That just JFW gave.
Right.
Just plain cash out of pocket from JFW. And those are the incentives. You know what I mean? The bonus on that is what they took, what it created in the investments and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, anyone that follows that, right? If you have 25 to 30 years with a 401k, you're going to have $1 million. Right. Putting the minimum in.
Yep. But there again, Dave, that's that puzzle piece I'm talking about.
Right.
Look at your big puzzle in front of you. What are you after? What's your life? It's just not all about that moment. And I didn't want to ruin our thought, but it's the same thing when, why do you have me running on that job? Oh, how come I'm not hardwired? All that kind of stuff. You're just looking at that moment, that time, that day, when if you just go run whatever, as long as we're a group and we're the big puzzle, we're able to add all these benefits.
Yep. Speaking of Patrick, one of the things we asked him this morning is what brought you to JFW, and the first thing he said was benefits.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Gotta have them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So important. So yeah, guys, we're working behind the scenes all the time. Trying to put the puzzle together and make it better for everybody. Like we talk all the time, better.
Absolutely. So just do you want to go through each one of those benefits and break them down a little bit? I mean, I know we've been talking about the 401k a little bit, but we could get into the PTO program just so you guys know the way it works in Paycom now. So if you're a new hire, the way it works in Paycom, you'll earn 1 hour of sick leave for every 30 hours worked, up to 48 hours, or in the driver's world, up to 60 hours, right?
Yep.
So, because that's basically 6 days off of sick leave. Now, what if you're not sick? Well, guess what? You can still use your sick leave, right? You'll combine that with your PTO. Your first year working here, you'll also earn a half a day a month of PTO for good attendance. That means you're here every day, you're on time, you don't bring it in early, you'll get a half a day a month for that for PTO. So between the 6 days you can earn a year in PTO and the sick days, the six sick days you can earn, there's 12 days of paid time off for your first year. Plus, we give you 6 paid holidays, okay? And those days increase the longer you've been here. Once you hit your 2-year anniversary, you'll go from a half a day a month to 0.75 days. Once you hit 4 years, you go from 0.75 days to 1 day a month. So that's 12 days of PTO plus your 6 sick days for 18 days plus your 6 paid holidays. And then once you hit 9 years, you get 1.25 days a month, right? So it just grows. The thing about the paid holidays and the PTO is you're going to earn your daily average. And we talk about this all the time in the culture meetings. If you're a guy or girl that goes out and earns $250 a day on your paid holiday or your PTO day, you're going to get $250. If you're a girl or a guy that goes out and earns $350 a day, your paid holiday you're going to earn, or your PTO day, you'll earn $350 a day. Everything is just based on your daily average and your gross income. So if you're that person that's being late once a week or calling off once a month, you're just missing out on your attendance bump, which we could get into in a minute. You're missing out on your PTO. So those numbers, your daily average and your gross income for the year goes down
Right.
every time you're late and every time you call off.
Yep.
Right? Now, if you're sick, you're sick. The nice thing is if you're sick, and even if you didn't have any sick days, but you had PTO, you could use that PTO. If you call out tomorrow and it's an unapproved day off and you're like, hey, I want to get paid for being unapproved, that's fine. We'll pay you, but you have had to have earned that already.
Right.
So,
And it doesn't affect your daily average of income because you put a PTO day in there.
exactly.
And that holds your average,
It does.
you know?
The other thing I want to mention now in Paycom, for the people that have been here already, you're not going to see that 1 hour for every 30 hours worked because we dumped those 6 days of PTO. We preloaded them into we dumped the sick days into your PTO when we were in Bamboo.
Yeah.
Now with the newer people, you'll see that 1 hour for every 30 hours. But whoever you are, on every anniversary date, we just now put the 6 days in your sick day, in your sick leave, right? So you hit your 1 year anniversary, instead of earning that 1 hour for every 30, you'll just see 6 days appear on your anniversary date. Your 2 year anniversary, your 10 year anniversary, you'll always see those 6 days appear in your sick leave.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It sounds confusing, but it's really not.
It's really not.
I mean, the one thing you really just need to know, maybe this explains it in a different way, Jam, is the only time you see those 6 Colorado sick days and they're in question is the first year you work here, because you have to earn those hours to be able to take those.
Right.
After year 1, they're preloaded. You can take them as a week's paid vacation.
Right. The nice thing in Paycom though now, Dave, is they won't just see their first year. They're not going to see those 6 days.
Oh, they're just going to see what they accrue.
Yeah, if you started,
nice.
if you started
so like
working
week
here,
1, you're not going to see anything. It's not until they've earned
Yeah, we've
See, I just learned something.
Yeah, we simplified
I love
that.
Paycom.
Paycom's so fun. So, yeah, we simplified that. So if you started after October, no, when did we start? September 19th?
That sounds
Yeah.
like a round date.
9/19. So if you started working here 9/19
Oh my God.
or after, yeah, that's right.
You're pretty close, Jam.
Or the 12th, or
Yeah, the
one of those.
23rd is the one when we were looking at payroll, trying to switch over. It's 9/23. But go
Got
ahead.
it. So maybe it was 9/23. If you started somewhere in September, you will not see those 6 days preloaded. You actually, whatever you see, you could use. So the whole, well, how long you been working here? Well, you can only use these days. Yeah, but I see 6 days in there. Those days are coming to an end.
Right.
Yeah, once Paycom's been here for a year, we won't have anybody that could look and be like, well, how many days could I use? You could use whatever you see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to back up, maybe stated another way. The first year you work here, if you have great attendance, you have the ability to earn up to 18 paid days off.
Perfect.
Working days in a month is an average of 22 days a month. So the first year you work here, you have the ability, and it's in your control, to earn up to 18 paid days off, which is, I mean, for year 1, that's
A month off, Dave. You just said month off.
Well, it is. If you take a 5-day work week, that's 3 weeks and 2 days off, right? No,
We're
3 weeks
actually-
and 3 days off.
And we're actually just going to give 12 of them to you. You only have to earn 6.
Right. Well, you do have to earn the other 6 because you have to be here the day before or the day after for the holiday pay.
Right.
We do, we
Bottom
make
line
everybody
is-
accountable, right?
Come to work every day,
Yeah.
and you'll make money.
Yeah.
You get paid to not be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and let me just jump in here real quick.
Yeah.
I think the first year there's like a learning curve with realizing that like in the winter there's a little bit more downtime and stuff,
Right.
and so being wise with your days. I see Paco during the winter, like if it snows or something, calling and saying, "Hey, let me put a PTO day on this," so that it doesn't jam up our finances at home, you know, and what we need to take care of. So I think that. You have to adjust and figure that out the first year because you don't realize what it's going to look like. Because for me, I'm like, oh, December hits and it's winter. And he's like, no, not until like January. And then, things start coming and, he's home a little more or he's gone at night,
Right.
doing a snow
Yeah,
cruise.
plowing,
So,
yeah.
So just being aware of where you're putting your time,
Yeah.
your PTO and how it can most benefit you in that whole year,
Yep.
That's the great thing about the PTO. You can use it like that. I mean, we encourage people to use it like that. If you have the snow day or whatever, it's
Yeah, without notice, though, right, Jam? I mean, on
Without notice, yeah.
a snow day, because everybody had it off. You don't have to schedule it 7 days ahead. You can just, hey, I want to use this for a snow day and throw it in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
you can look at it like that's my money,
Right.
right? You're allowed to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Like,
could.
I
you
need
could
that
just,
day.
You could just cash your days out.
Yeah.
and we have people do that. They get in
Yeah.
a jam. Hey, I owe my bookie $2,000. I need to cash. I need to cash out all my days.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those are your days. But
I
same
need a new
thing.
weapon.
I could feel that. I like that.
That's not a gun pun either, right?
Yeah, I mean, I might have to cash out days to buy my wife a rifle. It's, So
You heard that, Ace. I did. It's in the podcast.
she's getting one. Yeah.
That's good to know because I'm a whole Paco too. Hey, I know you got some PTO.
Can you cash that out? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mama needs a new
Yeah.
something.
Don't worry about the snow days. Just give me the money. Yeah, good point. Really good point, though, Lauren. And,
Yeah.
that is a nice thing. Try to save some of those days for the winter because how cool would it to be off? You get to go play with your kid because they're probably off of school, too.
Yeah.
Go take them sledding, and you're not stressed out about money.
Yeah, you
'Cause
get paid for the day.
Super Dave, we've seen it both ways. We've seen guys, we got a snow day? Great. But we've seen, first-year drivers that came here a little bit behind on their bills, and they get a snow day, and it's like they don't know if they're going to make it through
Yeah,
the
they're
winter.
looking for a job.
Yeah, they're looking for a new job right away. But, the people that have been here for a year and felt the fury of a summer, of a tough summer, they're like, let it snow.
Yeah.
We need a break
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. You have to work at this job for a year
to
understand spring, summer, winter, fall. You truly have to go through the cycle and then go, oh, this is how you do it. But I think that's with any job. I think any job, no matter what, is cyclical. Even if you do something that is identical every day, you're affected by the season. If you're in, fast food, you're affected by a snowstorm. If you're in any environment, you're affected by weather. It sounds crazy. You could be a CPA. Well, you have tax season. You have, these bars you have to meet at some point. You have rushes and whatnot. So, I think every job you do, you should stick with for at least a year, unless it's like
toxic,
dangerous or safety issue or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
just even for your resume. I mean, that's something you look at, Dave. How many jobs has this person had in the last year? If you've had 3 jobs this year and you want to come work here, what's to say we're going to see for
It's
3 months?
very important
Yeah.
for anybody out there looking for a job. I hope your resume is in order because that will stop me from even calling the guy
Yep, no doubt.
or person.
Yeah.
BD, you want to touch on the 401k at all? I should say any more.
I just want to make sure, I guess I'm going to interrupt you, Dave, since Jam just asked you.
You're interrupting my closing argument.
Did you guys argue the whole way here this morning?
Jam, I'm surprised Dave didn't kick me out. I've had such a rough morning. I drove through his rock at his house. I I was in his pickup. I guess it's just too big. I don't know. I got here. I stapled the podcast notes together, and I'm looking for the winners of the contest. And I have a whole piece of paper in there as a list of titles. Has nothing to do with the winners. I don't even know where I got that piece of paper. So, yeah, and I'll go ahead and spit out my closing arguments now.
I told him don't worry about the rocks. UPS does it all the time.
Yeah. We know all how good drivers they are, right? Anyway, we haven't mentioned the medical. We've all danced around, I keep attendance bump and all this stuff.
Right.
The medical we pay for also, or everybody pays $1 a day, and then you pay for your family. But behind the scenes, we just now signed with a new agent to go over stuff, and it's difficult. Basically, we've said it on other podcasts. It's a scam because it's so difficult to get good coverage that's fair for JFW, the house, fair for the employees. But we're doing our best, and $1 a day to have covered in your insurance is nothing, you guys, for the costs. Yeah. And so I want to mention that we're offering that, and last year we were able to change some stuff up. We made the deductibles bigger, but it gave the big breaks for the people that were insuring their families.
Right.
And just want to mention that. So
Did you say how much it is per person per year?
I didn't, Dave.
Why-
I don't have
why not?
that because I don't have it memorized.
I think
I'm
it's
sorry.
like $5,800, isn't it?
Yeah, I think JFW pays $110 a month per person for the driver.
Yeah, which should put it at like $5,800 a year per employee.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
$5,600 a year
simple
per
math,
employee
yeah.
is what JFW pays, what the house pays out of pocket
For each driver.
for each employee.
To
Yes.
keep you at $1
Yes.
a week, we pay $5,800 a year.
I mean, you take that times, I don't know how many people are in it, but 150 employees, if they were all insured, we're pushing $1 million. I mean, I think we're at 700,000. I think is what we paid.
Yeah,
now
the
that
total.
does include the people that are paying for their families, right? So, I mean, we're not paying that out of pocket, but that's the total insurance bill, and that's just mind-boggling. I mean,
It is.
God, you guys have heard me talk about it in the podcasts before, how health insurance is just a racket, and it's broken.
Wow.
It is broken.
Yeah, I know you guys' hearts, too, when it comes to the health insurance, always trying to find the next better plan or program or deductible, or how are we going to pull it off, and how can we keep expenses down for the employee, stuff like that. So I know you did mention behind the scenes, I know you guys met with a new agent, I guess would be the right term, and he had some different ideas and stuff, and I'm excited to see what's coming for next year.
Yeah, there could be, if he comes at us with a good plan that's better for both of us, it might be a whole revamp of how we've ever done it, Jan.
Yeah.
But, that's a discussion with the steering committee. That's a discussion with all of us.
Sure.
This is what we're looking at. What do you guys think? What does he think? I believe I know his first name's Steve, but I believe it's Steve Miller. I don't remember his agency group. But right off the bat, he looked at our long term and our short term with not
Sun Life?
Sun Life. Yes, thank you, Jim. With Sun Life, and he's like, "Holy smokes!" He said, "Have you looked at this?" He said, "You're way overpaying on your deductibles or your co-pays and stuff, or not the co-pays, but the deductibles on this stuff." He said, "I can offer so much more to you for your employees because the employees pay that." And I'm like, "No, what? Our last agent hadn't done that." And whether they don't think about it or don't miss it, or maybe that was a sales ploy to get our business, but anybody that's looking at the money we're spending, our employees' money that they're spending, I want to know more about it.
Right.
I want that person involved in JFW. I want to make him a family member. Hopefully his group helps us because it's terrible. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yep.
I guess the last thing on the list for the benefits, I mean, we kind of touched on it, but safety bonuses, that is 2% of your gross income paid out quarterly.
Correct.
What do you got to do to earn that, Super Dave?
Don't run into things. A lot of people ask about the cameras and the alerts. When we're doing our interviews, I explain that the cameras are interactive and they will tell you to increase following distance and so forth. But the cameras don't have anything to do with your safety bonus unless you are really a repeat offender and not listening to the coaches to try to help you. But if you get speeding tickets, if you get overweight tickets, if you contaminate material, the cost factor is $500 of damages, whether it's material or vehicle damage or customer property damage. So it is really important that you stop, like Jim says, get out, look around, make sure you're not too close to anything. And also check your weights before you leave the pit. Make sure you're not going to drive right into the port down in Monument and get a big old ticket. Another thing that affects your safety bonus is your truck interior cleanliness. So we are very fortunate. Jim and Dave get us some beautiful trucks and trailers. Let's take care of them, everybody. Let's keep them clean. Pick up the trash. Keep your windows clean. Wipe them down. If you fail to do that, I believe in the course of 3 months, you'll get 6 truck washes. And if you fail more times than you pass, you will lose your safety bonus.
Got it. Thanks, Super Dave. Here's one. I wonder who wants to talk about this. Let's talk about registering to vote.
I think that's my department. That's where I come in.
That is.
Who was it that said they? Freddie. No, who was it that stopped listening because it got too political?
Freddie.
No. Cisco.
Kind of yes, but no.
I mean, that wasn't the only reason.
Yeah, I got you.
And he wasn't putting us down at all. It was a good positive. We want to know what makes somebody stop listening.
Yeah.
I've quit listening to other podcasts, and then I start back up. So it happens. We're glad to have you back, Cisco.
For the money.
And Freddie for the money. No, if Fred listens.
You guys should pay us to listen. Just whatever.
Yeah, I just want to. I know it's your game, Dave. You've become
game. Here we go. That's my jam.
More arguments,
right? The passion about it, and thinking about not getting political. So there was a debate last night. I'm sure most of you guys or family members didn't know about the debate, but it was with Heidi Gannell and Polis and Joe O'Dea and who's the other senator, I forget.
Michael Bennett.
Yeah, Michael Bennett. And, I could barely listen to the debate at some points because it just was like, this is boring as shit. Right. I don't care. What does it have to do with me? And I get that on the podcast here that, we go to talking about stuff like this and they don't care. It's a drone. It's like, what are you guys talking about? I just want a truck, or I want to get home to my family, or, all the other problems you have during the day. And before you get going, Dave, and talking about how important it is to vote, I wanted to mention something that's in the paper. So we also did a culture meeting with one of the other drivers earlier this week, and he mentioned that he learned some stuff in the podcast. He thought it was important that we talked about daily issues or the issues we face. And Lauren, you're sitting here, and your son's here, and I know you have other kids. We talk about Veronica and Lonzo and their kids. On Saturdays, we have lots of drivers that call in and go, hey, I have my son riding with me. I have my daughter riding with me, and give them their names. And they might say good morning on the radio, which is absolutely precious.
I love that.
Right? I love that.
Yeah.
All right. But, here's the political part of what I'm about to say is right out of the paper. I think it was Monday's paper, but it says, U.S. students in most states across almost all demographics, so rich, poor, doesn't matter, you guys, groups have experienced troubling setbacks in both math and reading. According to an authoritative national exam released Monday, offering the most definitive and then it talks a little bit about the pandemic, but the impact on millions of school children, the results were especially devastating, representing the steepest declines ever recorded on the exam in math and in science. And that's an educational assessment, okay? We're the greatest nation in the world, and yet we have the poorest education. That this is what this article is saying. And if you don't, part of how you can make a change is how you vote. And I'll let you take that over, Dave, and how our country is doing stuff. But Lauren, I want your kids to have the best education. I want Veronica's kids to have the best education. I hope my kids got the best education. Super Dave, your daughter, Jam, Bella, and if you don't believe it's important not to tune out, this is where you need to tune in.
Right.
And again, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, try to be involved. I know we work a lot of hours. Go out and try to be involved in your school board, in your church. Make a difference if you can. Give that little bit, and I get it. When I go home, I'm tired too. But when my daughters needed help with their homework, I tried to be there. And you can help make these changes by voting, by being involved. And I don't want our kids to grow up behind every other country.
Yeah.
So anyway, my little rant there.
Great points, Jim.
So Dave,
Yeah, I mean, we have written down here, you touched upon more of it. We have written down here, just register to vote. I just wanted to get with everyone, if you are not registered to vote, come see me. You still have time. We can register you to vote if you haven't voted or you're not registered. I remember when Dustin in our shop, they call him Little Dustin, but to me, he's Big Dustin. He's just not senior, right? So
right.
He's the younger
Dustin.
Big Dustin.
Yeah, no kidding. So he turned 18, and we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I need to register to vote. And I was like, step in my office, and I helped him and registered him to vote. So I hope his ballot showed up to his house, and he was able to vote. So, I mean, he's
He's on the right track.
Yeah. He is. Yeah, I was trying to keep it not political, but
He's not on the left track.
He's
on the right
mean it
track.
that
There
way.
you go, Jam.
But he's an integral part of our system.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
a young Republican.
And let me just tell you guys, I know that you guys probably hear more about you're ranting on this stuff or, like more of like you're getting too political. Paco was never a voter. And the last presidential election, I think you guys convinced him to vote.
Good.
But he didn't vote. He registered, but he didn't vote.
Okay.
Now he's adamant he will vote in this midterm. He's that's just what it's going to be. The ballots came in the mail. He's like, we need to turn these in. Like how long do we have? And he's set on it. But also because you have to really just look at what is important and valuable to you. Where your values stand and how you have to recognize that the vote does affect those things, whether it's your kids or your job. I didn't realize how much politics are playing a part in my financial world. And just recently I started working, but I say my financial world because Paco was the sole provider for our house. So knowing that there's things that are affecting the trucking industry, that's important to me, because that's how my kids eat. That's how we pay our mortgage, or whether it be the environment or it be, whatever it is that you value, you have to recognize that there's something else that kind of controls that and you want to be a part of that.
Yes.
Wow, Lauren, you just made me feel like I want to quit. I'm just going to let you do it. Good job. Well said. What am I doing here?
That was her opening argument.
I don't have anything for closing.
Yeah. Jim better start working on his closing because his sucked.
Good job, Lauren. Yeah. I was listening to you speak, and I'm like, it's also our right. Lots of countries don't have that right where they can put whoever they want in office.
I would say the majority of the world population, the people in China don't have that right.
Yeah.
And they have the most people in the world, right?
Yeah.
What really bugs me is when somebody's complaining about our leaders, and then you look at them and say, did you vote? I don't effing vote.
It's not going to make a difference.
In my mind, then, you be quiet. Because you didn't step up and do your right as an American citizen to help choose our leadership.
Yeah.
You-
I just think also, too, a lot of that comes with age, Lauren.
Yes.
I think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
soon
does.
you go from just you to then it's you and your husband or you and your family or whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden you're seeing this bigger picture, right? And we talk about that all the time. We talk about protect the house. Well, instead of, and I break it down into a piece of pizza, right? Instead of looking at just your slice of pizza, you have to look at the whole pie. Well, we consider that JFW's pie. Well, what if there's 30 pies out there and we need to be sure they're all taken care of? And it's just the bigger picture, right? Whether it's your government or your school or however you want to break that down, we're all connected and we all need to participate. And I think a lot of times the working class is so busy working, I think a lot of them don't have time to vote or they think they don't have time to vote.
I think they feel like they don't have time to research to make
True.
or don't have the interest.
I feel
to
that
really
way
research.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But I sat down with my little blue book because we are not trying to have some mushrooms. People running around on mushrooms in the streets, So I sat
Right.
down with my little book and read through,
Yeah.
of like what's really coming up,
Yeah.
like not just the people, but the laws that they're trying to, 'cause
Yeah, no,
that's-
I agree. And what's great is they send out that voter's guide
yes.
along with the voting.
They send they
they
send the
send it
guide
out.
out
Way ahead of time.
way ahead, so
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
the time to research it. But
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's interested, I have a cheat sheet for the guide that I can pass out that is just recommended, right?
Yeah.
It's not
so-
it's based on your value. You still need to research it, but if you want to roll through them, if our values align, I can hand out a cheat sheet and
Yeah, if you
can
don't
just
wanna-
reel down through there if you want.
My church had one too of all the people.
Right? Yeah.
if you don't want to do that, you could just drop your ballot off here, and we'll fill it out for you. Drop it off. Don't worry about it.
But I
And
remember
these are
having to
not
rush out of
expressed
work in
opinions.
time to make it to the polling stations, and you don't even have to do that now.
Yeah.
We would get out, I'd get here to the yard at 6 o'clock at night, and I'd have to make it, I live in Lafayette, which is Boulder County. I'd have to drive all the way up there by 7 p.m. when the polls closed.
Right.
You don't need to do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I dropped mine off at the Westminster Police Station last night. I guess there's another government building there, but it's a cop shop.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just dropped mine yesterday over at Adams County because we went there to get license plates.
I
And
saw your sticker.
yeah, I voted. It's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So if anybody needs help registering to vote, so
Yep.
you can go vote then, and you can do it. We can register you today and you can go vote. So if you're using that for an excuse, I'll help you. It's not a big deal.
And I just want to say, because I'm gonna brag on Dave this time, is and JFW and all the family members here, but I just don't know. I guess I've never had a conversation, but how many companies are offering to teach you to vote or to fill out your ballot or being involved or care about your future as much as we do, Dave?
Yeah.
I mean, some companies just aren't gonna. You just don't matter, and we care about you and we care about our future and we care about your family. So here's a small way we can make a difference, and Dave can take a few minutes and help you out so you can vote. That's how much
Absolutely.
we care.
Love it. All right. Everybody good before we announce winner number 2?
Oh yeah, winner number 2.
Yeah.
Winner,
How,
winner,
how
chicken
much?
dinner.
How much is that?
$100.
Because I know Lauren knew how much it was because when she said that right, we sent Lauren the outline, and Lauren said, "Oh, it looks good to me." And by the way, the end of my driver's license is blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh yeah, she gets the game."
I realized I'm like, oh, she's going to be a great guest. Right?
I totally thought that. And I said, man, Paco's got such a great sense of humor. And so does his wife. That house must be a riot.
Right.
Sometimes I'm usually the butt of the jokes, but
Oh, so our second winner is 0447. 0447, and that is the last of your driver's license.
I think that's me.
Is it?
No, I'm just kidding.
they don't come through. It is.
Man, we'll just have we'll see how big the pot gets next week.
Right.
Yep.
Hope people are listening. Otherwise,
That number sounds so familiar to me. I wonder if it's one of the new people.
Oh yeah, could be.
What
yeah.
an awesome start. to-
Oh, right.
Yeah. Here's a Hondo.
Well, you're wrong, Dave.
I don't know how to say this.
I don't know how to say it. Yeah, but
I do want to emphasize too. These numbers, Amber has a program right on the
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah,
these are random computer generated numbers.
Yep.
We have nothing to do with it. She hits the button and it goes dink and spits out a
Same
number.
program that's pulled your drug test the last 3 times in a row.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, you remember we got in trouble for doing the drug test ourselves years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, Dave?
Yeah, pulling-
We only had 25 employees, so we got 25 bingo balls, assigned a name to each bingo ball, and you sat there and you spun the little wheel, and wherever it stopped, a bingo ball fell out. They said that wasn't a random generated number, and I'm like,
How much more random do you get?
right?
Yeah, it works
And,
for the lotto.
Yeah, they fined us for it, and I'm like, are you effing kidding me? It needs to be computer generated. I'm like, oh my god.
Wow.
yeah,
I'm not voting for you, bud.
and
Your vote matters.
Yeah.
and so everybody knows everybody's in this.
Yeah, every
everybody's
employee.
every mechanic, wash bay, doesn't matter. This is if you're listening, you're in there.
You?
know. No, I'm not.
You're
in there.
employed by JFW and you're listening.
I'm not in there. Well, I would assume I'm not in there.
You're in there.
Oh, that's
The only 3 people here that aren't in
Wait,
there
0447 is mine.
is Lauren, me, and Dave.
there you go.
There's
And
3 of us at
Elijah.
this table.
No wonder it was so familiar.
Right.
All right, Lauren. Well, you are the first time we've had a spouse on. We've never done this before. We thought you'd be an interesting guest just because you have been interactive with our social media page, and we've raised money together for one of your fundraisers and stuff like that. So welcome to the Channel 23 podcast.
Thank you.
So tell us who you are and what you like to do in your downtime.
I'm Lauren Najera. I'm Paco's wife. What I like to do in my downtime, I don't really have a lot of downtime anymore. But if I did, I'm an outdoorsy person. Lots of time at the gym and lots of church and ministry stuff.
Gotcha. And how many children do you and Paco have?
So Paco and I together, we have one. I have another biological son, and then Paco has 3 kids. So all together, we're a nice big bunch of 5.
Gotcha.
Nice. very
Hopefully
cool.
one day 6.
Oh.
He won't let me.
You could always trick them.
He says, I know.
No
He says
doubt.
we have to
Yeah.
get rid of one of the other ones before we can onboard another. We don't.
Which one would you get
They're
rid
like
of?
when you have enough shoes, you
know.
can't let the wife get any more shoes until she gets rid of a pair. Is that how that is?
Or we
Is that
just
how he's
build
thinking?
a bigger shelf, or something. I don't know.
Well, here's who Paco said you were. He said she's a Christian, loves working out, has a part-time job at a gym, not full-time to make time for family. Didn't want me going over the road, so she made sure to cook healthy and make good healthy meal preps for my lunch because I was gaining weight due to our job and was contemplating and changing a career. And then he put midlife crisis. With a ha-ha. I could just picture Paco saying this.
Right?
Polit-
So much truth
Yeah.
in all of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Politics, she's a Republican, and I argued about this with him last night. Thinks about homeschooling, made me understand that she was right about Trump all along. Ha ha. And we're trying to go to Africa with a missionary friend she has. She's been learning how to garden for healthier eating, and just in case knows how to make a fire and filter water, and wants our kids to learn all that. So that's what your husband thinks of you, which is pretty good. He's always
cool.
had nothing but good things to say to you.
Yeah.
The whole Republican thing, anytime we have a guest, I always get online and I do research. I just type in a name and see if they're an axe murderer or something like that. And a lot of times their voter registration is the first thing that comes up. And Lauren, you're unaffiliated. I'm unaffiliated as well, so this isn't a knock. But Paco's like, no, she's a Republican. I'm like, Paco, I can show you she's unaffiliated. But I can understand being unaffiliated because I'm unaffiliated as well. So, how long have you and Paco?
I got to jump in there. I think it's 47% now
Really?
are unaffiliated.
Nobody wants to put their name behind anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
And I
either.
think it's getting. When I say worse, I don't mean that. That's growing.
Could be better.
That number is growing. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because honestly, I would vote for a Democrat. I would do it.
If they were right for us, absolutely.
Show me one.
Well, I think nobody's perfect. That's what everybody's afraid of. Neither side is perfect.
Right.
you know. But like you guys are saying, if they have an idea, go for it.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yeah.
JFK was a Democrat. Abe Lincoln was a Republican.
Yep.
2 very good presidents.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I voted for Obama his first time. That was the first time I voted. And I was just like, oh, this guy's going to be different. Not so much.
He was such a great speaker, though. I mean,
That's
he
what
could
got
go
me.
sell ice cubes to
Oh, yeah.
Eskimos.
Yep. I was freezing. I was freezing in the igloo when I bought.
Yeah.
I bought a case.
I mean, I'd just stand there and be like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen to this guy.
Good.
His auditory speeches
Yeah.
were just amazing.
he sounds presidential.
He does.
Right.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what everyone said. Anyway, how long you and Paco been married?
We have been married since 2019.
Okay.
So we met in
Great.
2018 and got married really fast.
Gotcha. Where'd you guys meet at?
Through a friend. My best friend has known him for a lot of years. And he had sent her a message that he was tired of all these running around with all these different girls, and that he needed a girl that went to church and went to the gym. And she was like, oh,
There you go.
meet my best friend.
That's funny.
See, that's a good reputation right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And what kind of husband is Paco? How would you describe him?
Ooh, the kind of husband he is. He's definitely a provider. He is definitely a family man. I think, I don't know if people know too much about his past, but, you know, he definitely has changed from not valuing, or his values have changed over time.
Sure.
I think that he's like an extremely supportive husband, and he sees the need for me to be able to grow and to flourish and all of that. I think he is sometimes extra loving and affectionate and all those things. But he also, like you were talking about how you get tired after work, you know, you work these long hours and stuff, and how much more gas in the tank do you have for your family? And he always makes it a point to, you know, come home and have gas in the tank to, if I didn't work out that morning, like, let's go in the garage and work out together.
Nice.
Or to play with the kids, or, you know, to do the things at home, where I see, you know, other people that I know, they're like, yeah, my dude comes home and just goes to bed, you know, and like Paco always gives us that extra little push at the end of the day.
Very
So,
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel called out.
Yeah, it's funny you'd say that, Jam, because I wrote after mine when I was reading through the questions, what kind of husband, you know, is Paco? And I'm like, ask myself that question.
Right.
You know what?
What kind
It's
of
a great
husband is
question.
Paco?
Well, yeah. He seems like pretty
Nobody
good,
got that.
you know.
Yeah.
But I asked myself the same thing. You know, what kind of husband am I
Right.
to Holly or
Yeah.
you know, to the kids? Because
Dad.
you just have to reflect once in a while and
Yeah.
and think about it.
Yeah, luckily both Jackie and I are in our 60s, and neither one of us have any gas left at 9 o'clock at night. So it's all
right.
good.
You do, but it was from dinner.
Depending on what she cooks.
Speaking of the gym and you and Paco working out, I did see a video. I'm not going to call it a deadlift competition, but Paco deadlifted, I thought, 365.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good weight.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's only got to lift it 1 foot, but it's still impressive. I'd break my spine trying to lift 365. So nice work. And then Lauren, I saw you deadlifted 225 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah, I could probably beat you, but that's some good weight too. Yeah, just to be out there lifting that weight.
Yeah.
Deadlifting, if you do it right, is really, really good for you. If there was only one exercise to do, and you could do it the right way, deadlifting would be the way to go. So, yeah.
And why is that?
It's just full body. You got to engage everything. You're using, you know, a lot of your posterior chain, your hammies, your glutes, your core, your shoulders, your grip strength. Like, it just, you know, you using that big exercise, your body for men is going to release a lot of testosterone naturally. It's just, it'll make you strong all over. So we could start doing that after this podcast.
Cool.
Dave.
I'll start at 50 pounds.
Sweet.
Yeah. So now I've made
It's
a
better
note.
than 0 pounds. So
Yeah, I've made a note. Lauren's taken my job on the podcast, and she outlifts me. Okay, so let's keep moving on, Jam.
Elijah needs to use the bathroom.
You remember where it's at?
Yep. Wash your hands.
He doesn't even use his hands. He just stands like this.
That's funny. So tell us, what was Paco doing before he came to JFW? How did he find JFW? And what was it like from your point of view when you guys started discussing JFW? Because I'd imagine it sounds like you're the type of family that discusses everything.
Well, okay, so at that point, before Paco came to JFW, he was in roofing.
Right.
So he had been doing that for a couple years. And he was great at roofing. But we met, and I got pregnant pretty quickly. And so we went straight into this, planning of the future. What are we doing? All of a sudden, he had told me that he was going to go get renew his license, his trucking license, to get a CDL. And I just thought it was like something that he wanted to do, but I didn't realize that he was planning on making the shift from roofing to trucking, or back to trucking, because he had done this years ago. And then it was just like in a matter of weeks, like, I'm quitting roofing and I'm going to go into trucking. And there's a company, I can't even remember what it's called right now, but there's another trucking company that had talked to him, but the hours were like crazy. Like, there was this guarantee that they would like pay him even if he didn't work and stuff, but like he was going to have to be gone for like 4 days straight or something. And to me, I was just like, we're about to have a baby. Like, you're not going to be around for this, you know? And then the opportunity at JFW came along, and mind you, at this point, like, I wasn't fully set on this whole trucking thing, because I was like, hold on, like, you're grown and you're going to switch careers. You've already been here for, X amount of years. Like, we have like major family changes coming up. Like, you're just going to switch out of, roofing, what you've been doing for years. But he was like very confident, and this is what he was supposed to be doing. So when the opportunity with JFW came along, another big thing for me is church. So this other company, he wasn't going to be able to come to church. He'd be working Sundays.
Right.
When JFW came, I knew that it was a godsend because it didn't take up his Sundays, because that's a big foundational thing in our family. That he doesn't have to work Sundays, and we can make sure that our kids are in the church. So at the beginning it was terrifying, but over time, I'm like 2,000% confident that this is where we're supposed to be at. And I say we because I'm part of this too.
Sure.
So yeah, at first it was a little shaky for me, but it didn't take very long before I realized, like, this is the career path. This is the company. And he did mention that he was wanting to, at the beginning, he wanted to go over the road. He was talking about going to North Dakota, to an oil field. Yeah. To do that. And I was like, we have too many kids, like, we have too many kids, and you don't want to miss out on Elijah growing up,
Right. Yeah.
And fortunately, he's here because I see other companies that don't take care of their employees the way that, JFW takes care. And so being here, it gives him that opportunity to be home every night. Wedo, what's his real name? Paco's friend that we just hired.
You said Wedo, yeah. Ricardo.
Sorry, I've known him longer than I've known Paco, but I don't call him by his real name.
Right.
But he was over the road for, the last couple years. And I remember telling him, like, you want to be home with your kids, you want to be home with your kids, and you guys offer enough that's possible,
Sure. Awesome. And then what's been some of the ups and downs for your family since Paco's been here at JFW?
I don't feel like we've had major, like, significant downs, like, with the company. I would say as of lately, I have started to work just because of inflation. I've been a stay-at-home mom for years, and I've always had my little side hustles, babysitting and doing different things.
Sure.
But taking on an actual out-of-the-home job now,
Right.
and knowing that I need to like maintain that because inflation is just nobody can keep up right now.
Yeah.
Colorado's highest in the United States.
Yes, you should vote.
Thank you. Yeah, we can just leave, Jim.
No, you two got it. I'm like, let Jam keep moderating me and you, Dave. Super Dave, we're out.
But no, I even think about times. I remember one time like he was going to take me for my birthday somewhere, and you guys called because he needed to go in for snow crew, and he was like, I already have plans with my wife, and you guys let him go on his plans with his wife, it wasn't like, no, you have to be here. So I think that JFW's actually been really good about, accommodating everything. So we haven't had like major downs. I don't know. I when I think about like over the last few years, like all I can think about is, 3% raise and, things like that.
Right.
So
What's a shame about that 3% raise is,
what is that, the 10% inflation?
yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So we came into the year like, hey, everybody, here's 3%.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Fuel and
everything just
groceries
started.
and-
It was
Everything just blew up in 90
everything
days.
just blew up. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
Can
wow.
you imagine where we would be if we didn't do that?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have a lot
Yeah,
of
and we're-
people
we
hurt.
Wouldn't be plus 10.
Right. Agreed.
Right? Yeah. And I know you're joking, Lauren, but just your quick math or your 10% and the 3%, we're 7% behind, right? And
Yeah.
that's bad, even if the 10% isn't the right figure. We're still behind. You guys are behind. We're behind. It's just
We do have a very good living wage. I think about the people that are working part-time at, I don't know, Home Depot, and then they have a second job and they're working part-time for an accounting company or whatever. And both places they're earning, I don't know, $16 an hour or something. And you think, boy, they are working as many hours as us at 2 or even 3 jobs and can't make it.
I always think those are like single people. Like they don't have a family, they don't have kids, they don't have a house payment. Like they live with a buddy or parents or something like that.
But
You
also
think,
taking into
right?
account that those those companies are usually keeping everybody at part-time so they don't have to do insurance.
Yes.
Right.
And you don't realize the value of health insurance until you need it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing with all insurance, Lauren. It seems terrible until you need it.
Yeah.
I'm paying what a month? And then, I need it.
We talk about that all the time because, this year to save money, we raised the deductibles, which for the people that are paying for families, it helped until you use it, right? So then you have that higher deductible. And I just always try and put it in perspective, and I never know whether it helps or not. But I think, oh my gosh, I have insurance. Well, such and such was just in the hospital for 3 days. It's a $150,000 bill, and I paid... What's our deductible? $5,800, $6,800. I honestly don't know.
$8,200.
$8,200 out of $150,000. I think that's a pretty good return for $8,200 if it covered.
That 8,200 is
$150,000.
the max out of pocket. The deductible is 6,300. I mean, you could look at it the same. But I mean, you want to talk about pieces of the pie. I was pretty upset, right? Because we switched insurance, and then I took a hit because I needed a surgery this year.
Right.
And I'm like, holy cow! And then I heard one of you two guys say, or maybe you both said it, sometimes what's good for the masses isn't good for the few, or something like that. And I'm like,
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
there you go. So,
Right out of Mr. Spock.
Yep.
yeah, the needs of the many outweigh
you,
the
Leonard
needs of the
Nimoy.
few.
Yes.
So, I mean, just thinking about that, it's just like, well, I mean, if it's helping everybody more and I took a hit this year, well, then,
And,
Yeah, isn't
and
it-
out of curiosity, Jam, what do you know what the insurance cost? I'm sorry, what the bill was?
I could go back and look, Dave. I want to say it was up around $60,000 in that neighborhood.
I know
You
it
know.
still doesn't make you feel better
But-
paying that.
No, but the weird thing is, I thought I was going to be $6,300 or $8,200 out of pocket, and after the deals and the buy downs, or
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
reviews
I don't know
The
what
web lies.
I don't know what they do, but I ended up being out of pocket probably about 4 G's. But still, I mean, 4
Yeah.
G's is 4 G's.
I mean, here's where Jim and I get frustrated, Jam, and I know we've had talks about this many times with Super Dave, and you as well. But I mean, so we sit here and go, okay, we just said an hour ago that we pay $5,800. You just paid $400, right?
Right.
So now we're $9,800 in, and it's like that's still not enough.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, but I mean, and I don't know what you had done or whatever, but I sit back and I look at these hospitals when you walk in, and of course, if I'm sick or have something go on, I want state of the art, right? But some of these facilities you walk in and it's like, this is a Taj Mahal,
Right.
right? I mean, do we need to have art and, some of these things, can we lower some of the costs by some of these other things? And I'm getting off in the weeds, but
Do we need pretty red trucks? I mean, I guess when you start looking at it like that, like
true. Yeah, good point. I don't know. I don't know. It's just always something to look at, and it's always just the needs, right? You sit there when it comes time to renew every year, and we have to balance it because they love to come to us and go, "Hey, great news! It's only a 12% increase this year. The average is 16%, and you're only getting a 12% increase." And we're like, "Okay," and I calculate it right quick, and that's like another $72,000.
right.
Yeah.
They don't come to you and go, "Hey, good news! It's only a $72,000 increase." Oh, it's only 12%. Holy, and you're like, "What happened? How did we get here?" So then, just like Jim is saying, thank God you have it, right? You don't want to use it because then if you do, we're penalized. So when we have people use it and we have 6 or 8 cases of something, and you used it, now we're penalized because
we're group insurance.
Yeah, we're group insurance, so our rates go up the next year because we had 5 out of 80 people use it. And you're like, again, a scam. It's just
Does it cover just regular checkups, and all of that?
almost
Like-
all preventative
Yeah.
maintenance is
Yeah.
free.
and that's,
So you go in and that's something that our agent that we're switching to just brought up. He said he went in for his son's annual physical, and the doctor, because his son was 16, 17.
Yeah, one or the other, but older.
Older. So they ask the dad to step out, which is kind of unusual. But when they're not littles, right, like Elijah, you're asked to leave because it's embarrassing or whatever, So while the dad was out, the doctor gives him his physical, says, "Hey, how is everything? How are you in general?" And he's like, "Well, my ankle kind of hurts." Well, the minute they did that, the minute that kid said that became, instead of just a maintenance or a checkup, that became he came there for ankle pain. And they charged him $250 deductible. And luckily, this guy sells insurance. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You asked him. We didn't come there for that appointment. He never would have brought it up. He's not in pain. And he had to go back and really fight for it. But those are the things where you go through life and you learn you have to be an advocate for yourself and realize, wait a minute, this isn't right. I didn't call and make an appointment because my son's ankle hurts. I called because he needed a physical. We went in, you asked me to leave the room, and then you ask him, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Yeah, so the doctor's visit is just what you pay, whether it's a specialist or it's a $40 or $30 doctor's visit. Whatever they do in that visit is extra.
Right.
I go to the skin doctor twice a year, and when they burn something off or do something like that, then they charge you for that.
Yep.
But an annual checkup is free.
and that's something that is super beneficial, especially in the trucking industry. You're sitting
Right.
all day long.
Yeah.
Back to Paco's midlife crisis, with him realizing that, like, I put on some weight, and it's, you need to go get those checkups. You need to stay on top of your health. It's little things now that don't cost you
Down
tons
the
of
road.
money later,
Yeah.
and heart disease or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's, we just, because you're here, Lauren, and you talk about that stuff. So preventive maintenance, with the women and stuff, breast exams.
Yep.
And I know they cover like a normal breast exam, but Holly went, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, and there's a new breast exam out. But when Dave talks about it being a scam, it costs extra money. I don't remember what it was, 40 or 50 bucks, but it reads farther inside the breast.
Probably a 3D.
So-
I think it is, Dave.
Yeah, something like that. So Holly went ahead, obviously, and luckily we can afford that.
You want the old test and the new test?
Right.
You gotta get the new one.
So part of the little scale. Yeah, that's my point, Jam.
What's it cost?
Yeah, I want the new one for my wife also, but
Right.
we had to pay it. But why not? Is the best care offered? Because then if you do catch it, then you can treat it and save so much more money.
Right.
You know, some of that stuff is just, you know, and I can't say it's political who we vote for, but just some of that stuff is just broken in our system.
Yes.
That, you know, why?
And when you're not in that field or you haven't experienced it, you don't know to be an advocate for yourself.
No, and that
You
comes
have
with
no
age,
idea,
Dave.
right? Yeah.
When you
Experience, yeah.
experience, and that's age, yeah. 20-year-old's not going to know to go in and fight for that,
Yeah, right.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had drivers that don't advocate for themselves. I mean, the one driver in particular isn't here anymore, but he just got raked over the coals and, you know, put everything on his credit card, and it was just a mess. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, he couldn't get into an appointment for 3 months, and my wife wouldn't put up with that. She'd be like, "We're on our way. You're going to see my husband."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure
Knocking on your door.
Yep, you would do the same for Paco, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
Lauren, what is it like being I'm gonna call it a JFW wife or family member?
Well, like you said, I'm actually kind of invested in the company just because I think the podcast has actually helped that even more because, I don't know, as everybody came in, I laughed. I chuckled after meeting everybody because I know the
She
voices.
laughed when I came in.
It's just weird because I know all the voices. I just don't know the faces, you
Right,
know?
sure.
And I've seen pictures. Paco's brought it up and been like, oh, that's so-and-so. But, you know, it's a group of 10 men. I'm like,
Right.
you guys all look the
Sure.
same in the pictures like that. But actually getting a face to every voice is pretty cool. So I listen weekly. And so I feel like I am part of, you know, the company, and I'm invested in what goes on.
Sure.
I'm invested in the culture, so the culture aligns with my values. So being a JFW wife, I have one of these hats, and it's white, and I wear it every time I coach soccer on the weekends. So I think I wear JFW stuff, you know, I have JFW shirts, and I make JFW posts sometimes on social media and
do.
all of that. So because of the family environment, I think that I'm proud to be part of the JFW family, you know.
Awesome. That's so great. What do you think we can do better? Do you have any ideas on how we can improve in the company, or since you listen to the podcast so much, how we can improve the podcast?
Improve the podcast. Paco and I were actually talking about that this morning. Because you don't know the faces, I think that when you put it out on social media, I think maybe catching a picture here or there, you know, or some kind of visual of the podcast and using that to promote it would be, I know that it's for the company, but you're going to get more and more people outside of the company.
We want to reach as many people as we can. A couple people brought up a webcast, so it would be like this, but it's a webcast. I just started thinking about editing that. Would probably be a little more
right.
difficult.
Or if you think about just doing a webcast, like recording a little bit and just taking a clip, a 10-second clip, you know, a sound bite or whatnot, and using that, you know, could definitely draw more people in.
Okay. I like that. Elijah, you want to say hi to your daddy? Do it. Wow, he's a ventriloquist.
Right.
His mouth did not move.
He's
a lot.
acting all shy.
Right? A lot of pressure. A lot of
funny.
pressure.
There's toys in there. But improvements, we just talked about health insurance. I think that, you know, we're not on the family health insurance just because
Too expensive.
it's too expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys are doing as much as you can. And so we're just waiting and praying for the day that it becomes more, because we have a lot of kids. Fortunately, they're on other things, on other insurances and stuff. But due to the pandemic, I'm still on Medicaid that I should have lost a long time ago, and I don't reapply. They just continue to. But I think that I'll be losing that soon, which means Elijah will be losing his soon. So we do need to look at, getting on the health insurance, and that's going to be a hit, especially now that I'm working. I'm sure that we're going to lose that. So it's going to be a hit, and we're going to have to move some stuff around to make that work. But as far as a wife perspective, I think that's the only thing that's difficult for us. But also I have to look at it too, that like any other company, we wouldn't even be. I think the more benefits you give, the more we have to gripe and complain about. Like, oh, that's not good enough. Whereas, like, the 2 part-time job person isn't going to get that at all. So, I kind of got to weigh what's most important. So
yeah, we feel that pain. We'll roll out a new program and then wasn't good enough. Gotta do more.
Yeah, but it's so much of all part of being the puzzle, right? Putting the pieces together. And the thing is I just love it because I say it all the time and everything else. Every piece could be better, though. And you're right. If it's never good enough, but that's what drives people. Right. I'm not good enough at my job. I'm not a good enough driver. I'm not a good enough dad. I'm not a good enough, husband. But that drives me to be better. And it's not like I'm bad. I just know I could be better, in any of that stuff. So yeah, I totally agree. And I guess listening to you, Lauren, part of the stuff that you said is, I hope we naturally align with your values, and that's with anybody here. And even if we don't, I hope we can find a middle ground where we still can work together. We just may not have the values. I guess same as being, Republican or Democrat, or I don't know, Christian or Jewish. I guess all of that, but can we align?
Jesus was a Jew. See,
there's the whole thing, Jim, and we've talked about that. So yeah,
absolutely. Speaking of your values, Lauren, how'd you become such an advocate for church events, ministry, fundraising? It seems like you're super, super active in all of that stuff.
Yeah. So I think even before church life, before getting saved, before all of that, I just have a natural heart to serve. So it kind of just came naturally to me, like in the church. And I think that, there's one side of my beliefs where, there's going to church and worshiping and doing those things, but also getting outside the walls, because there is a whole lot of people who need a whole lot of help.
Right.
And so how dare I sit back and just watch and do nothing? I am obviously a big advocate for working hard and doing your part and all of that, but also being humble and realizing that not everybody was given the same lot. I happened to stumble upon a husband that stumbled upon a great career and all of that, and we have. So the more that I have, I believe that the more I have to give.
Sure.
So I enjoy, going out and helping and serving, and I actually enjoy more the managerial part of it, building something and being fruitful in that.
Sure.
So just, I think, a heart to serve and a heart to give back.
Have you ever taken the Enneagram test?
No.
Do you know what that is?
Yes, I know what it is. I've never taken one.
Yeah. You should take that, see where you're at. Me and my wife are opposite. I'm an 8 and a 2, and she's a 2 and an 8. But that just means the 8 overwhelms the 2, but there's still that in there. Her 2 overwhelms the 8, but Enneagram 2 is serving. So she also enjoys serving quite a bit. So pretty cool. You got any events you're working on right now?
Yes. So we recognize that Thanksgiving is a big day for everybody to go out and feed the homeless. Everybody goes out and does the turkey thing. Well, I don't know, at least church-wise, there's a lot of different ministries that go out and they feed the homeless and stuff on Thanksgiving. And we actually had a meeting about it and recognized that like sometimes it's kind of like you're fighting with other churches to get to that person because there's so many people with so much food out there.
Right.
So we decided that we're not going to do that this year. We're going to wait till the day after. And everybody gets fed on Thursday, so we're going to go out Friday and we're going to do burritos and blankets and gloves, and we're going to make little bags, so burritos in a bag. And
Nice.
fill the bags with things.
Turkey burritos?
No, I don't think we're turkey burritos.
Sometimes those are the best.
But so that's our next big thing that we're going to be doing.
Okay, great.
Very cool.
And then you've been an amazing supporter for us on social media. We'll post something. You're not scared to jump in on that post and share how you feel. There's been times where there's been a little bit of pushback. How do you keep your cool with some of the nonsense you see on social media when you're advocating for a cause or for us at JFW?
That definitely has come with a lot of growth. I would say a couple years ago, I probably was not as humble on social media. I would say I was pretty prideful on social media there for a while. And actually, Paco and I used to butt heads about that. He didn't like the way that I would argue with people and get into, that kind of stuff. So I don't know if he prayed or what, but like I've definitely grown in that area. I remember exactly how it was. There's a quote that says something about, would you rather win the argument or win the person? Right. And so, ultimately truth is truth, and JFW is a great company. If somebody's going to say that it's not, then that's from your perspective, but let me tell you my experience, because social media is big, and I know how much it impacts companies or people's personal lives or churches or whatever, so what's being spread about companies and on social media is important. So I try not to get into it with somebody and let them know why they're wrong, but let me just show you why I'm right.
I love that you said, let me tell you what I've experienced, because people could say what they want, but when you've actually experienced something or something different, nobody could argue with that, because that's your experience. So that's good stuff. What brought you to Christ, by the way? Because you're talking about growth and change, and how did you become a believer and saved?
It's a really long story, but really the deterioration of my last serious relationship. And actually one of Paco's friends had invited me to church, and I was like, I don't believe in all that. Like, I did not believe in God at all. And he took me to church, and I went to Flatirons for about 6 months. And then I went to an event at the church that I'm at now. Just a random pastor was coming, not a random, I followed this pastor online. Still didn't really believe in God, but I knew that my life was getting better, it was a good self-help hour on Sunday.
Sure.
And then that's when I went to this event, and I knew that God was real after that, and went from there. My life used to be a lot different.
Sure.
A lot of drugs, a lot of prison, a lot of all of that. So definitely a big change that I've experienced.
Yep.
So.
Awesome. Appreciate you sharing that with us. I know you've grown a lot, but what kind of woman do you want to be? Where do you want to keep continuing on to grow?
I think the biggest thing for me is the core value of family. Paco had mentioned that I want to homeschool and that I want to garden, and I see our society going a direction that may seem new and shiny and cool with technology and all that, but I think the real hands-on stuff is getting lost. When COVID hit, I was like, I'm going to sew all these masks. And I watched my mom sew when I was a kid, and I got behind a sewing machine, and it looked like the Rocky Mountains. My stitch was horrible. And I was like, man, I really need to learn how to do this. So I taught myself to sew, gardening, hunting, all the things that, because I feel like with our kids nowadays, if the internet goes down, they won't be able to eat. You know, they wouldn't know how to order from Uber Eats to get their food and stuff. And so what are we really instilling in our children? An ability to be capable and do for themselves. So I think that's the kind of woman I want to be, is somebody that instills those things in my kids, that hard work, that my best friend's daughter was appalled that she would even suggest that she have to wait for the bus in the cold. And so I told the boys this morning, like, you guys are walking to the bus. Like, you're going to walk to the bus. And I think that builds character. And I think I don't know, I want to build good humans.
Sure.
You know, good. And they're kids right now, but with the knowing that the bigger pie is that one day they're going to be adults.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build good adults, you know?
Did you give them the old word? When I was your age, I walked uphill 10 miles with no shoes.
Both ways to school in a snowstorm.
I didn't give them that, but because that wasn't. I think that I was a little bit. I come from a military family, so I was pretty well taken care of.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys heard that quote that strong men build good times or easy times, and easy times create weak men, and weak men create bad times, and so
bad times create strong men.
Exactly, and so I'm trying to maybe not make it such an easy time for my kids, so that it can build some character in them.
I'm on board with all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that,
right?
Oh yeah, there's yeah. And then you hope, and I know your girls are great and their husbands are great and stuff, Dave, but that's where you reach a little bit of the fruit of your work, is when you see them as adults, and you see them survive, thrive, I know Dave with Sam, he's so proud of him getting into Purdue for an education, but he's worked his butt off swimming, same with you, Jam, and having the karate or the jiu-jitsu in your routine, building that person, and it's just, I agree. Yeah, it's so important.
Yeah, I need to show you the video of fight night the other day. So fight night.
Intense, man.
Fight night's intense, buddy. So I couldn't believe it. It was
for Bella or just
Bella.
The whole club?
Well,
no, that was just the parents.
Yeah. So I think I've explained this, but Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays is technique. Wednesdays conditioning, and it's an hour of conditioning, and then Fridays is fight night. So I've seen fight nights, and sometimes I'll start the kids on the ground. Sometimes I'll start them standing up. But they made a circle of all the kids this week, and then there was 4 fights. So all the kids got to fight, but then they made this circle, and there was 4 fights, and they called my daughter for one of the fights, and she had to fight a boy who was explosive and fast and just been doing it longer than her. I couldn't believe it. She ended up getting tapped out, but man, she don't give up. That kid, and what I'm hoping when I saw that, because I had mixed feelings about it, he brought it to her. I'll show you the video. And then I was like, But she got up, she walked over, sat down, and the thing is in the circle, all the kids are yelling and banging on the mats, kind of like a schoolyard fight. It was intense.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
But I want my daughter to be able to face hard things without panicking.
Yeah.
That's just like Lauren just said.
Yeah. If you could get into a ring of other kids yelling and screaming, waiting for somebody to get tapped out or beat or you fight, and just from coming from a little bit of a fight background, sometimes you got to go in the ring with somebody you don't really want to, but to be able to go in there and not be scared, maybe she won't be scared about other things that come her way in life, so yeah.
And you don't realize how much those things translate in, you know what I mean? Like where she's going when she's 28 and going into a business meeting with some big shots, and just having that confidence to go in and do that. Like those are the things that translate later.
Right.
Or more so when she's 16 or 17 and at a party.
Right.
There you
and
go.
gets put in a bad position and knows the difference between right and wrong and can do something about it.
Absolutely.
Or, has the security or the knowledge to go, oh, this isn't right, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or try your luck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Jim, yeah.
Yeah.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Paco wanted me to ask you this question. How does he drive your personal vehicles?
So you were when you were driving down the street, were you driving your personal vehicle the other day when you saw the on I-25?
Yep. Personal vehicle, yep. Well, company vehicle, but luckily it's my personal vehicle.
Yeah,
Lauren,
well,
but-
let me just, I don't know how many dings he gets on his camera. I assume it's not a lot because he definitely does not get dings in our car. And it's actually very frustrating. The other day we were at a light and we were going to turn left, and so you wait to make sure that there's no traffic coming. And there was some cars, but they were very far away, and he just sat there. So when he drives the personal vehicles, he stays in the right-hand lane. He drives right at the speed limit or under. Like, he doesn't go around things. Like,
Good.
very slow and controlled. So I drive the personal vehicles. I drive us around most of the time because if not, he drives like he's in a semi. Like, he cannot make a left-hand turn very fast, Like, he can't just get in there. He's, like, got to wait because, he just...
So, I mean, I know that's a funny story, and I can so identify with it, but I have to give Paco kudos because you saw the video. He basically saved
Yes.
that nurse's life.
Oh, yeah.
That almost, if it wasn't for Paco, that would have been a head-on accident.
Mm-hmm.
As it was, that nurse just hit his trailer tires, which I know they're tires, but I believe that could have saved her life.
Yes, absolutely.
So I it's a funny story what you're getting at, but then I kind of have to go to the flip side that thank God he's like that.
Yes.
Right? I mean, those are the things that they're important.
Yeah, they are. And he always tells me, like, how many accidents have you had? And it's true. But sometimes we got to get somewhere. But he also, he's been that way since he got his CDL again because he knows that he cannot afford to lose his license.
Yeah.
That's just
protect
what
it.
it is. I
No,
cannot
it's-
afford to lose it. Everything depends on this, I have a coworker actually who he does the 25 part-time jobs right now. And he told me the other day, I lost my CDL. I got a DUI and lost my CDL. And so when I come to work, usually at 9:30, he looks tired because he's worked all night at a different job and then come into our job at 4 o'clock in the morning to open the gym.
Right.
Elijah, you're being loud. And I asked him, why do you work so many little jobs like this? And he is like, 7 more months and I can get my CDL back. And so I had to go home and tell Paco, like, I apologize for always critiquing your driving. I understand. I see now what life would be like if you lost your CDL,
Sure.
I got some news for your friend that for us in our insurance requirements, that DUI is going to have to be 3 years old before
For that so he
many
was at
companies, yes.
at an oil rig, I guess. So he's not really driving, but he has to have the CDL to keep that job. But I don't know if he's going to go back to that or whatnot. Child, stop.
I forgot that truck made that noise.
I'm not cutting that part out. I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Child, stop.
Push the other button.
That's funny.
He got comfortable now.
It's all good.
Yep.
All right. I know you kind of talked about what you got going on for Thanksgiving. Do you have any other shameless plugs you want to plug before we move on to the next winner of $100?
If you need a gym, which you probably all do,
I felt
Zone
like she was looking
Athletic
at me.
Club.
I can go, amen, hallelujah. You're right.
Was that a fat joke?
No, it's you guys sit all day long if you're trucking. So
Absolutely.
Zone Athletic Club or Prestige Fitness.
Why one or the other?
We're the same company.
Oh, gotcha. And
Yeah.
where are you guys located at?
My gym is in Southlands. We have 8 different locations. So we have one in Lakewood, one in Aurora, Centennial. So
What's so great about your gym?
it's where I work.
Good answer.
It's not like Vasa where there's going to be 700 people trying to get 7 dumbbells. You can always get into, it's not overly packed. It's not overly populated.
Booked or something, yeah.
Yeah, so we get people all the time that come in. They're like, my 45-minute workout took me 2 hours over here. I can't.
Right. But what if people keep coming to Zone? Won't that happen there too?
We're working on that. We'll get bigger.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, Zone or Prestige. I like it. Jim, do you want to add anything else before we move on, Lauren?
No.
Okay, you'll still have more opportunities, but in case you think of anything. You want to announce winner number 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, big thank you again to David Gayton for whoever wins this $100. Make sure you thank David Gayton. He's part-time, but we'll make sure you know who he is.
Yep. And maybe one of these three will donate for next week.
Maybe all 3.
Yeah,
Man, that would
you
be
just
a
never know.
$400
You
pool.
never
You
know.
guys consider doing like a rolling pot?
That's what we just did.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no. I'm saying like it's still 2 winners, but
Oh, just bigger amount?
yeah.
Oh,
Okay, don't announce that one. We'll give each one of the other ones on your $50.
depends on who wins next week, right? Or this week.
Yeah.
We may have to do that, Lauren. Yeah. So the third winner for this week, last to your driver's license, sounds like the other numbers, but it's not. So 0417. 0417.
Good deal. Man, I can't wait to get the text messages later. So Gilly did have another question, and probably should address this as well. Can you touch on what everyone thoughts on the diesel shortage and the government saying there's less than a month of supply of diesel? Have you guys heard that?
I have not heard that, but I know you posed that question, so I sent it out to our fuel supplier, which they're pretty responsive. We buy just a little bit of fuel.
I
And
love it.
he was just told the only thing that he's heard are conspiracy theories.
Yes.
And basically, there's just nothing locally as far as a shortage. I mean, they're always pushing the maximum of their capacity, right?
Right.
So if there were a breakdown in Suncor or something, or if there's some people here that are on the city council for Commerce City that want Suncor closed, there's going to be a shortage.
Right. Yeah.
And you won't be able to fly out of Denver anymore, and there's going to be a whole sort of issues that come with it.
Yep. Sounds like a problem, but it does also sound like a rumor as far as what Gil is referring to, because somebody else came down and was like, hey, I heard we're going to be out of diesel. What do you mean the whole country is going to be out of diesel? Like,
Right.
It's just a little bit far-fetched. So, Gilly, we don't believe that. So I guess that's how we'll address that.
Yep.
Just quickly, there are real issues, though, on the political side of that's driving the higher prices. Is we're not allowed to build new refineries because of regulations. There's not any repair of some of the refineries going on. Like Dave mentioned quickly, a lot of people are against Suncor being there, which a lot of the stuff like they're polluting the creek right here. It's cleaner after Suncor than before Suncor, which has nothing to do with them. Right. We do export a certain amount of fuel to Europe, X amount of gallons. You've heard that our current president, had to release our reserves. We are depleting our reserves, which I am so against, because that doesn't make us an amazing country, because we're self-sufficient. Okay, there are real problems going on.
It puts us on the brink of what if.
Right.
It does. It does put us on the brink of running out.
Yeah. Does anyone know what the reserves are for? I mean, what they were created for.
In case we run out.
No.
Well,
to
in case
supply
we're
us-
attacked,
Yes.
Right.
we have a reserve for our military to always have fuel.
There we go.
To
And those
defend our freedoms.
and those reserves have been there. Please correct me, but since the 1940s, or
Exactly.
that one of the presidents put in place. So right now, our current administration is depleting our reserves that we've had in there for 90 some years.
That makes me so
Well,
mad.
let's put it this way: the last administration filled it to capacity.
Right? Right. And so, politically, there's things going on, and then the conspiracy theories start. But there is a problem with what's going on. I do know that, and it's been said over and over, that we are the cleanest country in all of the world right now. We're leading that, but we're leading that at the demise of how we live. Energy, when we could be doing a lot of things. I mean, I listened to the debate last night, and I happen to know that Joe O'Day stated some facts very well on what we could do so that we're not energy dependent, or to get us that. But we don't have the technology to do that, and we're pushing in the wrong areas to do that.
We have the ability to be energy independent.
Yes.
We don't have the ability to be green, 100% green energy independent.
Yes, then that leads you to energy dependency, or non-energy dependency.
I mean, here's the big hiccup. We have all this ability to be energy independent, to create our own oil, create our own fuels, all of that. And with our restrictions, we could do it out of every country the cleanest. But we're that country that's going to go buy it elsewhere and let them dirty their shoebox and screw up our atmosphere, because we all share the same atmosphere. Those other countries don't have the rules and regulations that we do. So when they create oil, how much are they contaminating the earth versus us bringing our oil up and having our own clean energy created cleanly, right? Just because of our restrictions, which is good, right? Why should we sub out a job and have it done shitty that hurts our people, and when we could do it here and do it the right way and be twice as clean?
Because we if it's not perfect, we throw the baby out with the bathwater. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Everybody's like, well, it's not green enough.
Right.
Yep.
It's not lime green. I don't know, extra green.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I talked about it last week, right? CMEX, that the new customer that we're all in for, they went to the city of Boulder and said, hey, we can go 100% solar. We will eliminate any energy use whatsoever. We will be 100% green up here. And Boulder looked at him and said, well, we don't want to see all those solar fields. And all of Boulder's solar energy is in Greeley.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, so you're exactly right, Lauren. For Boulder, that wasn't green enough.
Yeah.
Even though they could be really green. Just not green enough.
It's green, but I don't want to see it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
I need
there's
concrete.
that other side.
Yeah, I need concrete, but I don't want to see how it's made.
Right.
Right? I need clothes, I need food, but I don't want to see the trucks on the road delivering it. So, yeah, lots of... I'm getting started. Sorry.
Go vote.
Safety topics of the week. We're going to talk about dumping procedures, because we do have a new CMEX job going on, and those guys are very, very safety conscious. Not that we're not, but they have a different safety culture up there, and it's just very, very safe. So, Super Dave, you want to talk about dumping procedures?
It's very strict, which I think is putting the fear into us, because overall we're very safe. We train people to look out the back windows when we dump. We train them to watch the saddle, whether it moves side to side. We train them to put the trailer down after only a stage and a half. And believe me, I've sat on job sites watching people send it up 3 stages and look at it like, that's leaning a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I think the big thing is to, number one, set up correctly. Look where you're dumping before you back in there, because you can't really see it when it's behind you. So when you're driving in, spot where you're going to park, you know. Another thing is always use that back window. Brother Dave, you've said it for 30 years, as long as I know. If you look out your back window when you're dumping, you'll never tip a trailer over.
Absolutely.
But I think also, too, make the choice before it's too late. And I, in the years I was training, I always said a stage and a half, which is about 6 feet off the saddle. If you think it doesn't look good, or it's came out of the saddle a little crooked, or it's going up a little bit crooked, that's the point to put it down and move.
Yeah.
To start
right
over.
away.
You know, once you go up 3.5 stages, it's too late.
Yeah.
So make that choice, you know, make sure it's perfect before you go up any higher, you know. Other than that, I don't know what this material is like. I don't know how it dumps. I don't know. I've heard stories that it's sticky when it gets wet.
Yeah, I think it's more like a crusher fine, Dave. You know, inside of your trailer being wet, the crusher fines are going to stick. It doesn't slide like a sand, you know, that kind of stuff, Dave.
So
yeah, it's
you
a
need
road
to-
base, yeah.
Yeah, be very careful then. It's not going to just slide out like a load of 3/4 rock.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and the thing is with them, and they've stated it several times to us, and they're independently insured, so they're a big enough company that they've been able to take the next step. Instead of dealing with the brokers and stuff like that, they've made the step to being independently insured. So that means you're even more vigilant on your safety because it comes strictly out of your pocket.
You bet.
Okay, so let's say, God forbid we go over and tip over at Brannon, all right? Brandon's going to work with us. We're going to pick up the mess. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. We've lost a trailer or whatever. We tip over there, we're done. We don't go back. We don't go back to Holland. We're kicked out. Their insurance company will not allow it. That contract is done. And, I know we've just started hauling it today, but hopefully it's a good haul. It's priced well. It's a year-long work. It's all through the winter, all that kind of stuff. We mess up and tip over, we're done. We've lost all of that. There is no second chances. I think that's what's made us nervous about this is, we can work through everything with Brannon. That you're just done. Yeah. So everybody has to keep that in mind. If we make a mistake up there, and it could be bending your bumper on the block, they may take it that we're not safe, kick us out. That's the safety we're talking about. We hit something on their scale with one of our mirrors. It's I don't know what he mentioned, Dave. $8,000.
$80,000 kiosk on the side of that where we drive past with the mirror.
They finally put up big bars, Super Dave. I know you haven't been up there. That you smash your mirrors before you smash their $80,000 computer. Well, there is no reason to smash your mirrors, smash the box, smash the bars. We can't screw up. It's just, and I think that's it's made me nervous. And this is what we do every day. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we dump. We have 96 trucks. I guess the fair average is 4 loads a day. So that's almost 400 loads a day. We dump out and do it well and without any incident. But here we are. We're going to haul 20 loads a day up there, and we're scared.
Yeah. which is good.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is good.
Yeah, that
it's
way
just good to talk about.
Hopefully we
right?
won't become complacent.
Yeah, and we need to bring it up at every plant.
Yeah.
We need to those are basics that you need to talk about every day. So using that back window, making sure when you load out of the bin that you're not heavy in the nose and just all those different items that we run into on a daily basis.
Yep.
So
yeah, complacency is an evil.
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether you're dumping a load or you're driving in your car. Paco doesn't want to become complacent,
Yes.
When he's driving. And I love that too, Lauren, because my wife, Jackie, is exactly the same way. She's like, we need to get there, and I'm like, listen, do you want to drive?
My wife's come over to our side. She's improved her driving quite a bit, and she watches her following distance and stuff. Still a little fast for my liking, but she's come a long way.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of having the character to operate in excellence every time. That's just being intentional about every single thing. And I listen, so I know about this job, that you guys are starting. And
Of course you do.
yeah, I know. And I so the most fit people in the gym, every rep is with intention.
Yeah.
Every rep is with excellence. Every rep is, with focus. So every load has to be the same way.
Lauren, I like to say a couple things. One is the way somebody does one thing is the way they're going to do everything.
There you go.
So if you half-ass one thing, you're probably going to half-ass a lot of things. The other thing
I leave the shopping cart out wherever I want. Man.
The other thing I like to say, gym related, is you could tell a lot by a man's life by how deep he squats. Right?
Paco.
Yeah. Yeah. If you ain't squatting all the way down, then you're probably not doing everything. A lot of things all the way.
How are you wiping your butt?
Wow.
That's how I feel about the people who leave the weights out at the gym. If you don't put that away, then I'm sure you don't wipe your butt very well.
Hopefully never mind.
There's a reason they call it half-assed.
Yeah, no doubt.
What did one butt cheek say to the other?
Oh, man.
Soup, save us here. You want to hit us with the high road hauling?
Sure, I'd love to. I really, really like this one. And it's kind of odd how sometimes they align with the podcast in general. We have been speaking of being fearful or having courage. I love your story about Bella, Jam, because that courage she's developing now will last her well throughout her life.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
My son-in-law recently lost his mother, and the courage that takes to deal with everyday life and the reminders and everything like that takes a great amount of courage. And that is not to be associated with fearlessness. This little article I've got here is great because it shows you that they do go hand in hand. So if you're like most people, you probably equate courage with fearlessness. But that's a false analogy. In fact, courage is taking action in spite of your fear. Courage is the willingness to respond fearlessly despite the anxiety and worry that might be tugging at you. One of the best ways to be courageous is to understand that you're afraid, what you're afraid of, and then refuse to allow fear to paralyze you. Because if you let it, fear has the power to stop you from moving forward, taking risks, and making the most of any opportunity. Being courageous allows you to take chances, pursue your dreams, and get what you want out of life. If you've been struggling with fear and want to feel more courageous in your life, there are a number of ways you can exercise your courage muscles and make the most out of every situation. And here's an overview of what you need to know about courage. Being more courageous in your life will help you respond appropriately to risks and accomplish positive things in your life. But it takes work to move beyond your fears. In fact, being courageous is about thinking things through, examining the risks and rewards, and acting in spite of the fear that inevitably sets in. What's more, courage gives you the power to chase after things that are important to you. It also bolsters your self-confidence and allows you to believe in your abilities. Likewise, it's important that you realize that courage is not the absence of fear. In fact, feeling fearful is healthy because it causes you to slow down, evaluate the risks properly, and never beat yourself up or assume you are not courageous if you feel fearful. To be courageous means that you're able to act in spite of being fearful. So here are some of the benefits of courage. Being courageous in the midst of fear can help build self-confidence. Embracing courage allows you to see the world from a different perspective. Making courage a part of your life equips you with the ability to empower others to do the same. Choosing to step out of your comfort zone and be more courageous makes you a more well-rounded person and broadens the experiences you have in your life. Being courageous makes you a more successful person because you're more likely to pursue your dreams and seize opportunities as they present themselves. And embracing courage and incorporating it into your life will increase your sense of happiness. Confidence or courage? Courage comes first. Most people assume that it is confidence that helps them start new things and confidence that keeps them going. It is really courage that allows you to start things, and confidence builds after continually doing something. Confidence is an outcome. Courage is the secret sauce that allows you to act despite your fears, failure of loss, rejection, or looking foolish. If we wait for more confidence to start something, we might end up waiting for a long time or forever. And I love this quote, and it comes from a very unlikely source, but the scariest moment is always just before you start, and that is so true. After that, things can only get better, and that was spoken by Stephen King.
Love it.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'll jump in there because I want to be sure everybody knows that Super Dave creates those High Road Hollands.
I was just wondering that. I was like, where does he copy paste that from?
He may copy paste some snippets, but I mean, the majority of those are all his. And gosh, Dave, over the years, I know you've said how many you've done. I think you've
251.
No, that was a few podcasts ago, Jim.
I think that was last week.
Yeah.
For my final thoughts, Dave, I just want to thank you for those because it is funny how they do fall in line.
A lot of times.
And rarely is there any correlation prior. You know what I mean? It's not like you sit down and go, oh, this is what the podcast is about. I'm going to do this, right? Because, I mean, let's face it, we get the podcast like the night before or the morning of or whatever. And that's not at a fault of Jams. It's like, hey, does anybody have any information? And a day will go by and, all of a sudden, all right, hey, we got the podcast tomorrow, right? We got to get that done. And I guess I'm just, and I've said this before, and I'm sure I'll leave people out, but like we talked about at the anniversary for 3 years for Ray Ray, and I said he always makes me laugh. The 16 years for Mikey always makes me laugh. We just did 30 years with Super Dave, and he always makes me laugh. And I just like that chuckle right there, Jim. It's fun to come to work.
Oh, yeah.
Do we deal with some shit sometimes? Absolutely. But, for the most part, what a great environment, and maybe I'm spoiled, maybe I don't get to see all the bad or some of the BS we have to deal with or whatnot, and I don't know. I'm just happy for that, and I'm thankful for that. So those are my final thoughts.
I'm going to piggyback right off of there, Dave, because at my church, when you volunteer, you meet in this room, and when you're walking out, there's a sign, and it says, "Can you believe we get to do this?" And that's how I feel about coming to work at JFW every day, doing this podcast, working with an amazing group of people from the owners to the other leaders to the drivers to the wash bay there's not anybody I can't go to in this company and have a laugh with. Mm-hmm. And I make fun of them all. So I'm just going to piggyback off of that and say thank you as well.
Yep, that's awesome.
Just piggybacking off of that, that's one thing. One more thing about my husband. The other day, our fridge started to go out, and he always puts me in check because I was like, wait, the fridge is going out. Like, what are we going to do, And I thought that he was getting frustrated because it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. And so he goes and starts pulling the fridge out to work on it. And so I told him, babe, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And I was like, don't be frustrated. And he was like, I'm not. And he was like, I get to fix my fridge. I'm blessed to have a fridge to fix, in a house to fix, And so having that mentality, with your job and whatnot,
that's huge.
This company is a blessing, know.
That's huge.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lauren, and you have a great laugh. Also, Dave brings that up. That you have a beautiful laugh. So
thanks.
That's awesome too. Yeah. There's so much you can be thankful for. My closing thoughts when we were talking about a puzzle is. When I was on vacation recently, I was messing with my phone, and my oldest daughter, Danielle, that I've talked quite a bit about, she's like, Dad, why don't you have your icons here and that? And she set me up these icons that were like travel and work and entertainment. And one of the entertainment, she goes, do you do TikTok? And I'm like, no, I don't have TikTok. I'm Instagram. She goes, I can't believe you don't have TikTok. And, she puts TikTok in the deal. So I clicked on it, and you got to kind of wade through the stuff that first shows up on TikTok that's meant for a 54 or 58-year-old man, and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, okay, let's get past this. And I'm like, I asked my other daughter, how do you get other stuff to show up? And she's start searching on it, and it'll start to populate on what's interesting. And so I'm looking for different stories or something that inspires me. And there's a lady on a TikTok the other day that. She happens to be a barber is the gist of the story, and she says she's blessed with her job because of the different people she meets, and she would never meet most of the men that come in and because they're from all walks of life. Everybody needs a haircut is the gist of it. And the guy tells a story of that he believes with God that if you're doing a puzzle, you can go to the store and go, oh, I want to make a picture of dogs. And there's your puzzle. There's a picture of it. This is how many pieces are in it, and blah, blah, blah. He kind of believes, and I didn't understand from the video there of why 4, but he believes that God gave him, was it 5, Lauren, if you've seen it? But he gave him like 4 boxes, but there's no pictures of the puzzle. Okay, and there's no way how to put it together. There's no nothing. There's just all these pieces. And his kind of take on it and what she got from his story was that, as he's putting all the pieces together through your whole life, you're searching of what this piece fits here and this piece fits there and different stuff. And sometimes it's the wrong pieces. And how she ended up telling the story at the end of it was that he found that a lot of times he has to share his pieces with other people to make their puzzle complete.
Yes.
And I found that piece of it, puzzle kind of funny, but
no pun intended.
No pun intended, right? That with all of you people, all of our family, I need your pieces. but I hope at some point I can share some of my pieces with you guys and make you complete and build your puzzle. So I guess my take on it is all of us should stop being so selfish. And like you guys just all said, how Super Dave's High Road Hauling always plays in. Maybe you should have the courage to share your piece with other people to tie it into Dave. So that's my story for the week.
Let's go.
That's my closing argument.
Soup?
I don't know what to say. That is so true, Jim, and that is very, very special words about sharing your puzzle with others, because your puzzle won't ever be complete without that.
Right, Dave?
Yeah,
I don't know. It was
good stuff.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you know our creed by heart?
No, I've been practicing, but
We cheat. We have to read it too.
I don't.
No, Dave, but you're well practiced.
I'm very well practiced, yes.
You've put that puzzle together.
Well,
right, are we ready?
Let's hit it.
Let's do it.
Together we face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family.
All right.
Good stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for
Have a
listening.
great week.
Make sure you collect your hundo.
Have a great week.
Thanks, Lauren, for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you
big
for
thank you to
inviting me.
Lauren.
It's a good podcast.
Yep.